Long time ago, these mysterious people that are only known as the Ancients arrived on planet Popstar and its surrounding galaxies. Those people created miraculous technologies that could alter dreams and allow them to warp to different worlds. However, they suddenly disappeared. And alongside these powerful objects they left behind, new people would eventually rise and find those objects. And whether they used them for good or for evil was up to the whims of fate and destiny and whatnot. Kirby don't care. I'm Don, and this is Dan. We're talking about Kirby lore because there's a lot of it, and they keep making more. And sometimes it might be hard to know all the references and stuff because there's a lot. Some of these games are 20 years old, man. You can't be expected to remember all that stuff, right? Come on.
Yeah, no, of course not. So we've decided to make a video to summarize the entirety of the Kirby series.
We're gonna do all of it, all of the Kirby, and just giving our own interpretations of the information that is given, and just trying to figure something out. Starting with the first game of the series, okay? We're gonna go quick with the first couple games, because the lore doesn't really start until Return to Dreamland. Ready?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Kirby's Dreamland. In Kirby's Dreamland, Kirby flies in on the spring breeze. That's our riveting plot for right now. Guy named King Dedede, in the middle of the night, he just decides to steal everybody's yummy food for fun. And also their funny sparkling stars. He wants to steal them all and steal all their food and hoard it in his castle. And he's just fat and mean. So Kirby says, I'm gonna go stop him. And then he does that, and then he gives all the food back to the people of Dreamland, and they see him as a hero. And now King Dedede's not happy about this. King Dedede's so mad at Kirby. He's gonna start getting real grumpy with Kirby in the future. So now, the next game is Kirby's Adventure. I'm gonna go ahead and explain Kirby's Adventure real quick.
Kirby's Adventure, there's this thing called the Fountain of Dreams. People of the Dreamland have suddenly started waking up without having any dreams, and Kirby is like, oh no, what's happening? So he goes to the Fountain of Dreams and he sees King Dedede just bathing in the water, and he automatically assumes that Dedede did something about it. Dedede tries to explain himself, and then Kirby just says, no, I'm not listening to you and what you're saying. I'm gonna go.
They got beef immediately. We're already.
Yeah, they got beef immediately. And oh no! An orb of darkness has come out of the Fountain of Dreams. What is this? It's Nightmare. The reason why King Dedede had destroyed the Star Lord was because Nightmare was going to corrupt it.
You mean Dedede's a good guy? Or you mean Dedede's a good guy?
What? He did this because he was trying to help people. What?
I can't believe it.
And so Kirby, with the power of the Star Rod, vanquished Nightmare, and the power of the dreams has come back to everyone. Yay! There we go. Look at Kirby's Adventure.
Now Kirby thinks Dedede maybe not such a bad guy. Up next, Kirby's Dreamland 2. An alien comes down to the planet. It's an evil orb named Dark Matter. He decides that he's lonely, and Popstar has too many nice people, so it's gotta go. So he invades the Rainbow Islands and shatters the Rainbow Bridge that connects all the islands and possesses King Dedede. This is gonna happen a lot. This is number one on the King Dedede is possessed counter. And
yeah, the number one. Yeah.
And then the true evil, the Dark Matter swordsman, who will definitely be very important later. He comes out, and Kirby beats him with a magic sword, which is great.
It's the Rainbow Sword, which he got from collecting the rainbow drops from the 7 islands.
Yeah, that
Yeah, never.
happens. Dark Matter's gone for good. Kirby Superstar. Kirby goes on a lot of adventures in Kirby Superstar. We're just gonna talk about two of them because they're the only ones that are really important. One of them is Revenge of Meta Knight. Meta Knight declares nuclear war on Dreamland. Oh.
Yo, no.
Yeah, Meta Knight decides that Dreamland is too lazy. I guess that dark matter thing from earlier probably made him think, you guys are not capable of protecting yourself. I'm gonna take it over, and I'm gonna use bombs, and I'm gonna bomb King Dedede's castle. He has bombs on his ship. He literally has bombs. He doesn't
He
say
literally
it,
had
but he has
bombs.
bombs.
We went back to look at the game and we saw it.
But yeah, so basically Kirby goes and stops Meta Knight's motley crew and kind of just blows up the ship before it gets anywhere. His ship is the Halberd, by the way. It looks like him. I think he has an ego. And then there's Milky Way
Can I-
Wishes.
Can
You
I
want to do
explain?
Milky
I
Way
wanna
Wishes?
explain.
Sure, go ahead.
I love Milky Way Wishes. Milky Way Wishes! Randomly, the sun and moon are fighting day in, day out. Kirby gets introduced to this guy named Marks, and he says, "Hey, can you stop the sun and moon from fighting? All you need to do is gather all of the star power from the surrounding planets to summon galactic nova. He will grant you any wish." And so Kirby just goes and do that, and then takes a bit. And then he finally gets to the Galactic Nova, and the Galactic Nova says, "What is your wish?" And before Kirby can say anything, Marks knocks him out of the way. Oh no, he's a bad guy. Who could have thought? And Marks's wish says that he wants to control Planet Popstar. And then Galactic Nova says, "Okay, sure." And he goes towards Popstar. And the Sun and Moon stop fighting for once to heat off Galactic Nova from getting to Popstar, and then Mark shows his true form.
Basically,
And so
Kirby beats him up. Yeah,
Kirby beats it up, and he just goes back to sleep in his house.
Yep,
That's the end. There you go.
The end. Yep. Great. Kirby saved the day again. He just keeps doing it. Now we got Kirby's Dream Land 3. So remember in Kirby's Dream Land 2 when there was dark matter and it was on a set of islands? What if we did that again, but it was the whole planet? And Dedede's, guess what? Dedede, he's still possessed. Great. Great. Awesome. So now Kirby's got to go across the whole world, all of Popstar, helping out a bunch of random people, including Samus from Metroid. You've helped all the people, and you've gotten their little objects. You get to fight against Dedede, and you beat Dedede up, and the true villain emerges. It's Dark Matter, and Kirby chases after Dark Matter with not the Rainbow Sword, but the Love Stick. Entirely different, and very important, of course. And so he goes to fight Dark Matter in the sky with his friend Gooey, by the way. We forgot to mention Gooey.
Gooey is also
Dark
here. We don't know why he's...
Yeah, Gooey is also Dark Matter, but he's good Dark Matter. He's
good
a
Dark
friend.
Matter.
But he
I'll
has the
report him
same
later.
powers. He has the same powers as Kirby, his mystical copy ability. This might imply something about the connection between Kirby and Dark Matter. But we'll have to ask about that later. Whoa. So yeah, anyways, turns out Dark Matter did not come alone. Dark Matter brought its true leader, the creator of Dark Matter, Zero. Zero is a big, scary eyeball. And he's basically the god of Dark Matter. He makes them. And that's pretty scary. But Kirby and Gooey, their power of love is strong enough to defeat any darkness. And Zero's eye grossly pops out and he dies. And Dark Matter will never come back ever again. Hooray! Kirby 64, Dark Matter's back. Dark Matter attacked a different planet this time. This planet is called Ripple Star. On Ripple Star, they have these funny little crystals called crystals, and Dark Matter breaks them, and they shatter across the galaxy. But a little fairy girl named Ribbon, who lives on Ripple Star, manages to escape, and she finds Kirby on planet Popstar. And together, they travel across the galaxy, recruiting the likes of Adeline, Waddle Dee, and even, reluctantly, King Dedede to help them find the crystal shards on a road trip across the galaxy.
We get the first glimpse of the ancients with some abandoned planets that they had apparently lived on. One of them being Shiverstar.
Once you get all the crystals, you get to fight the true enemy of the game inside of Darkstar. This time, Zero is back with a brand new reincarnation as Zero 2. Ah, he's so scary.
Oh no! Ah!
And though the battle is tough, they ultimately succeed. Darkstar is gone. However, this will not be the last we see of their kind. For their darkness spreads quite large across the galaxy, and even those not directly related to them have their roots in the dark arts. And now it's time for a game that actually matters. There was a remake of Kirby Superstar, and we saved it for now because we personally feel that it is the closest to being a modern era Kirby game with the lore and stuff, and it introduces a lot of things that will be important in the future. So, firstly, you want to talk about Meta Nightmare Ultra?
That was... Yeah, okay. Yeah. Meta Nightmare Ultra is where Meta Knight decides to go through Kirby's same route through Milky Way wishes to summon Galactic Nova, and his wish was that he wanted to fight the greatest warrior in the galaxy. And Galactic Nova grants that wish, and what gets summoned is this being called Galactonite. Meta Knight ultimately defeats him, and Galactonite dies. He just explodes. First time we see him, he's dead. And Meta Knight goes home. That's the end of that.
Yep, he won't be coming back. He died. So
he won't be coming back at all. Nope, he's dead. Yeah. He's dead. The first time he appears, he's dead.
So, in that story, you might have noticed something was wrong. When Meta Knight summons Galactic Nova, he's still kind of broken. That's weird. The Galactic Nova seemed to rebuild itself. Why would it still be broken? Very strange. However, it would seem that the boss rush mode of dubious canonicity in Kirby Superstar Ultra, the true arena, offers an answer to that question. Remember at the end of Superstar when you knocked Marx into Nova and it caused a massive explosion that definitely killed him? What if he didn't die? Yeah, hear me out. What if he didn't die?
Okay, I'm listening.
This mysterious machine, Galactic Nova, of dubious origin at this point, its parts were naturally attracted to Marx. They absorbed into his lifeless-ish body and transformed him with its mystical power into Marx's soul. And now he's back with a vengeance. And he comes down into a mysterious realm to challenge Kirby once more and claim his soul for himself. Very scary stuff.
Very scary.
And then he dies, so Kirby wins.
And then he dies. He screams and he splits in half and he dies.
Yep, and he won't be coming back.
Absolutely not. He's coming back. He's dead. He's dead. Yeah. Just like Galactonite's dead.
We've discussed a couple times that Kirby and DDD, over their long history and long relationship, though they've been reluctant allies a couple times, like in Kirby 64 and Kirby's Adventure, they often are rivals. They don't like each other, right? I mean...
No, of course not.
Like, they're very similar in their gluttony and their attitude, but they don't like each other. So, King Dedede decides enough is enough. Today is the day Kirby and I have our final duel, and whoever wins will finally be the winner of this rivalry. It ends today. So, King Dedede, in revenge of the king, invites Kirby to his castle. He has his strongest minions take down Kirby. Try. But Kirby blows through each and every one until he finally reaches Dedede Castle at the top of Mount Dedede. Dedede and his subordinate, Bandana Waddle Dee, who will be important soon. Bandana Waddle Dee is basically just a little Waddle Dee with a blue bandana. He is basically King Dedede's most loyal subject and the representative of all Waddle Dees across the series. Kirby fights through Castle Dedede. He even fights Bandy himself. Bandana Waddle Dee faces off against Kirby, and though he fails, he does not go down without a fight. And Kirby finally makes it to Dedede's arena. Never before has Dedede offered Kirby a fair fight. Meta Knight is usually the one that offers Kirby a sword so they can fight honorably and on the same playing field. Meta Knight is a swordsman, Kirby is a swordsman. However, this time around, Dedede wants it to be fair. He wants him and Kirby to be on an equal playing field. He offers Kirby a hammer, and Kirby grabs it. The empty arena lights up. The stands are empty save for one person, Bandana Waddle Dee, clapping for his king, as Dedede dons his mask and electrified hammer as the cage sparks to life. Kirby and Dedede engage in their final showdown to truly settle their grudge on who is the greediest, most gluttonous in Dreamland and the best with a hammer. Right, we all know how it goes. But isn't it just so spectacular? King Dedede came a long way from being the guy who just stole food from Dreamland. He truly has become someone respectable, at least in some sense of the word. He's earned the admiration of at least some, if he's not perfect. And though King Dedede loses, when he marches down his castle hill onto the empty fields with his head hanging low, he's joined by his loyal Waddle Dees, who admire his strength and his honor to fight Kirby on that field. And from this point on, King Dedede is no longer just a self-made king. He is truly the king of Dreamland, who has earned his title and earned the respect of his people. And while him and Kirby will continue to be rivals, they are much closer to friends now that they've settled their grudge. That is the lore of the pre-lore era of Kirby. It's important to establish some of these things because basically the goal of the next games is to recontextualize some of the stuff and give it history. It's easier to understand if you've played them, but at least in this format, you'll understand some of the references because there's a lot of stuff. Now it's time to get to the real meat and potatoes, the true start of the Kirby lore and the soft reboot of the Kirby series. Kirby's Return to Dreamland. One random day, on a peaceful day in Dreamland, a mysterious ship falls through a portal in the sky. Its parts spew all over the lands, and Kirby and friends pursue it. And once they enter inside, the trajectory of their lives will change only a little bit because they don't really care about all the lore stuff, but we do. Once they meet a figure inside named Magolor, and Magolor is quite a studious little wizard.
He finds out about this ancient group of people that had made all of the magical stuff, like the Star Rod, the Clockwork Stars, the Galactic Nova, all that stuff. And he's obsessed with them. One of the things that the ancients had made is the Lore Star Cutter. The Lore is not just a ship that the ancients had built to sail through the stars, going from world to world and such. It also is sentient. It has an AI of sorts. Though it never really talks to Kirby or the player, you do get a feel that there's something else about it.
Yes, the Lore Star Cutter and many other objects that we observed in the past Kirby games, which as mentioned, the Star Rod and Galactic Nova, which there are possibly multiple, were all created using a mysterious, miraculous power, according to Magolor. And that power allows the users to manifest their dreams and warp across different worlds and dimensions. Magolor himself is a practitioner of ancient magic, so he himself is also capable of warping to worlds, and he uses such powers to warp to Halcondra, where he fully engrosses himself in studying these people and their culture. He even seems to be outfitted with clothes they might have worn too, as well. So much so that he even claims to have been from the planet in Kirby's Return to Dreamland, though he would later reveal that that was a lie. Magolor is after a specific artifact he read about in a legendary book that seemed like a fairy tale. It stated that a mysterious crown exists on Halcondra, their ultimate weapon, full of infinite power. The Master Crown, which is adorned atop the four-headed guardian angel, the guardian of Halcondran treasure, Landia. While Magolor attempts to fight Landia after he uncovers the Lore Star Cutter, he ultimately fails, and this leads him to traveling to Dreamland to enlisting Kirby's help, as we mentioned before. He seemingly already knows about Kirby from someone who may have told him, apparently someone he's fought before. Likely to, since Magolor ends up betraying Kirby in the long run, many believe that this person is Marx, who also betrayed Kirby, and, as we know now, was also trying to use him to get access to a legendary ancient artifact, that being Galactic Nova. Now, Halcondra is an interesting place, though it was once home to an incredibly powerful society with immense magical prowess. They no longer exist, and Halcondra is now a lone planet, surrounded in the darkness of a realm called Another Dimension. Another Dimension is the land between dimensions that is very unstable. For now, let's get back to the main story. Alright? Then you want to summarize it real quick? It's pretty simple, right?
It's very simple. So Kirby and the gang being DDD, Meta Knight, and Bandana World D, they've basically been tasked by Magolor to recollect all of the 5 ship parts that got spread around in Popstar. And so they go do that exactly. They defeat some bosses and whatever.
On top of finding the 5 ship parts, on both Halcondra and Popstar, there are 120 energy spheres, which are extra parts of Magolor's ship. They're smaller, but they're still important for the ship to function. These spheres are spread all over the land. However, there are certain creatures that seek the spheres for themselves, that feast upon their energy. These creatures are called the Doomers. In particular, the ones that eat the spheres are called Sphere Doomers. And Sphere Doomers appear all across Return to Dreamland. even on Popstar. And they just want to eat the spheres, because according to ancient texts, they once had the ability to warp across space and time on their own in a different form. And though we don't know what that form is, it can be assumed that the fact that they're chasing after the energy spheres must mean that their energy was harvested to create the Lore Starcutter and possibly other machines to some extent. Now, there is also Grand Doomer. He's the boss of all Doomers and the final boss on Popstar, who holds the ship mast.
When Magalore finally gets his ship back together, he tells them that he is going to take them to Halcondra. And when they enter the planet's atmosphere, Landia attacks the Lore again, and it crashes down again. And so now their main goal is to get to Landia and defeat them.
I'm not asking any questions about why this dragon would shoot down the ship. Kirby and friends are very simple people.
They're very simple. They're very simple people. They just see someone in danger and they just want to help. They don't ask any other questions.
Once we arrive on Halcondra, we meet another new character. Halcondra appears to have these buildings that used to stand here, which have now been recreated out of scrap metal, perhaps by the few little creatures that still live there. The person running Egg Engines is Metal General. Metal General has been stationed there for a very, very long time, right? He's been there for a while.
Yeah.
He is a war machine who was sent to different planets in order to engage in battle with various cultures. Something that we'll see more of later on, but Metal General's purpose was as a war machine and the operator of Egg Engines, which he now solely rules due to a lack of his master or anyone else to rule him over. So Metal General lords over Egg Engines. He has the little Halcondra Ds running on treadmills to power the place. He possibly even had the buildings be recreated in order to make it feel more like home. Now on to the last level. Haldera Volcano, where Landia sits. Kirby and his crew, they make it all the way to the top. Dad, do you want to take it from here?
And there, Kirby and his friends get to the top of the volcano, where Landia, the four-headed guardian angel of Halcondra, lays. The fight's very easy, to be honest. Guardian angel, Anyway, so Landia gets defeated, and the Master Crown that they were protecting falls off their head. And Kirby and the gang cheer! Yay! They finally did it! Their adventure is over! When they hear collapse, and they look up, and they see Magalore, and he thanks them for all of the efforts that they had done to get him here. What he's planning on doing is taking over the entire universe. And since they helped him in this entire adventure, they're going first. And it opens a portal to another dimension where you face him.
Thanks to Landia's help, Kirby and friends are able to reach him at the bottom of another dimension. And they engage in battle. It's grueling, it's difficult. If you're a baby, it's like...
Yeah.
But ultimately, Magalore is stricken down with a mighty strike of Kirby's Ultra Sword. And then, suddenly, the crown flashes to life. Thanks to Kirby's mighty sword, defeating Magalore, the crown is now in control. So, let's talk about the Master Crown. The Master Crown is said to be an ancient artifact worn by many kings across many eras and many worlds. Its dark power influences those who wear it, darkening their heart, but also darkening its own in the process. It will ultimately eat away at anyone who wears it. Landia, a long time ago, was deemed the only person, or the only being, capable of controlling the crown's power to an extent, though it's not perfect. Sometimes they can be overpowered by the crown's might, but they're the best person for the job. Once Magolor is controlled by the crown, a mysterious eye appears in his mouth, one that isn't Magolor's. An eye that, if you are an astute Kirby fan, you might notice many dark bad guys in the past have had a similar mono eye. It seems that this crown is just another evil dark matter entity of dubious origin, and at some point the ancients must have had access to this power. After the crown's defeat, Magolor is thrust into nothingness, and the crown shatters to pieces. Kirby and friends, with the help of Landia and the Lore Starcutter, return home to safety and resume their normal lives. But the story is not yet over for Magolor. So, there is an epilogue in the remake of Kirby's Return to Dreamland, in which we play as Magolor exploring the depths of another dimension after this humiliating defeat.
He has lost all of its powers after Kirby and friends had defeated him, and his plan is to get his powers back.
Not sure if it's for good or for evil, but
we're not sure about that. He's kind of a dubious creature, you know.
yes.
And so he goes through this strange place that's like a mix mash of other places. And he
if you
fights.
pay attention to the architecture, it looks quite similar.
Yeah, looks very similar to something else.
It's very possible that they might be the ruins of Halcondra.
Magolor encounters remixed bosses that Kirby and friends had faced before, but this time they're elemental themed. When Magolor defeats all of these bosses, he gets a slice of a weird apple. It's very gem-like, you could say.
Yes, and thanks to this apple and its seeds that can be found throughout this mysterious realm, Magolor is able to recover his magical energy in different ways. And through enhancing this energy, he sort of contemplates to himself certain things. As when he enhances his flight, he thinks about flying into a sky-high kingdom, which we might discuss later. When he thinks about enhancing his other powers, he thinks about joining hands with his friends that he betrayed. Maybe he's feeling a bit regretful for his actions. Once Magolor gathers all 5 apple slices, they combine into the Grand Gem Apple. Much like Kirby and friends who gathered his ship parts before. He heads to the Ethereal Altar, or in Japanese, as it's called, the Room of Eden. And once he arrives, just like Kirby and friends, the rug is pulled under him out of karmic retribution. Grand Doomer, previously fought before, returns with the Master Crown's power in its hand. Each boss seemingly was working under a common force to gather these apple fragments for this crowned Doomer, including other Doomers themselves, who normally only go after energy spheres. Which would stand to reason, why is Grand Doomer after apples if they usually only go after spheres? We're not sure just yet. But Magolor, having the rug pulled under him, has to fight to get his apple back. It might be his only chance to go home. And once he ultimately defeats Crown Doomer, he's in for another surprise. For it wasn't Grand Doomer's plan to gather these apple fragments. The Master Crown, remember, controls those with weak minds. It seeps and reaps power from those who wear it. Its fragments, which were contained within Grand Doomer, were the ones in control the whole entire time. They opened the portal to this world. They haphazardly allowed Magolor to get here simply because they needed to arrive to find this gem apple. A source of power so great that the Master Crown becomes self-sufficient once it has access to it. The space warps around the gem apple as the crown uses its power to take us back in time to when it was at its strongest. Meteors fall from the sky, buildings crumble and smoke rises. Familiar buildings as a tree with wings and a crown wrapped around its branches. Mistletoe, the tree crown without a ruler, the true destroyer of Halcondra, descends to face Magolor in his final test of faith and retribution. Magolor fights tooth and nail. This beast that he helped create, he must stop by any means necessary. And once he gets the opportunity, he lifts the sword out of the ground. He imbues it with his magic power, managing to create a super ability of his own. The Ultra Sword that once cleaved him, he must use to cleave the crown. He must cut them in half. And once he does, the world is back to normal. The illusion of another time is gone. Leaves fall, crystals twinkle, and a way out manifests. Magolor, wiping his tears, enters the portal and falls into a new world with a sapling of the gem apple. This world is the Dream Kingdom, an alternate world in the past that seems to reflect Popstar and Dreamland. But we'll talk more about it later. And right now, that's the end of Kirby's Return to Dreamland.
And Return to Deluxe.
And Return to Dreamland Deluxe, yes. So, next, we're going to talk about Kirby Triple Deluxe. Let's head into the Flowery Coop. Coo? Is it Coop or Coo? Flowery Coop?
Coop.
No, it's Coop.
Coop? I guess, yeah, I guess Coop.
Let's head into the Flowery Coop.
Kirby is having a fun time on Dreamland, playing around, catching fish, having a fun time, and then he goes to sleep. He's having peaceful dreams. But you look up into the sky and you see something is falling out of the sky. Don't know what it is yet. And you see vines growing out of the ground that lifts Kirby's house into the sky. And then Kirby wakes up and he goes outside and he sees that he's just floating in midair. He panics and runs out. Thankfully, the vines that are connecting his house catch him. He sees that Dedede's castle has also been lifted up into the sky. Kirby, being friends with Dedede at this point, goes and rushes to Dedede's castle to check up on his friend. And there he sees this weird magical spider person that has overpowered Dedede's Waddle Dee guards and is trying and successfully going to kidnap Dedede. And Kirby is helpless to stop him. He just watches this spider take off with Dedede, and Kirby rushes off towards him, climbing up the vine. And there is where the main point of the game starts, of the world in the sky, Floraria. Also, weird thing to mention, Kirby's sleep hat, before this all happened, used to be teal. When Kirby fell out of his house, the teal hat fell to the ground and we never saw it again. Kirby's sleep hat is now purple. They made a canonical reason for why the hat's color is different.
It's very deep lore, I bet. Even
Very
the
deep lore. The teal sleep hat is very deep lore, trust me.
Yes, deep lore.
And so Kirby's adventure starts.
And they encounter each other multiple times. Terenza increasingly using Looney Tunes-esque actions to make the bosses mad at Kirby to occupy him.
So, Petra is one of the bosses you fight in Deluxe. She bears a striking resemblance to another character we did not talk about from a spin-off game called Kirby Canvas Curse. That boss is Dracia, and she is all about like painting and stuff. Petra is actually the sister of Dracia. They are related. That's important.
Coily Rattler is a hot metal snake that's supposed to be a statue, but Terenza brings it to life. We don't know much about Floralia, but we do know that Coily Rattler is a deified entity to the Floralians. They worship Coily Rattler as a god. And we're not sure if that ends up meaning anything. We don't know if Coily Rattler actually represents some other entity that exists, or if Coily Rattler itself is just the god in question, because it's not, like, obviously it's not a god. It's supposed to be a statue. But we're not really sure what the truth behind that is. Maybe there is some kind of snake god in the Kirby lore that we've yet to meet, but I guess we'll have to find out about that later. Alright, let's continue. Ultimately, Kirby's goal is to find the Sunstones, so that way the Dream Stalk, which as it is called, grows higher and higher into the sky, up to the mysterious castle known as Royal Road that Terenza is heading towards. Now, Mr. Terenza is a loyal servant of the vicious queen Sectonia, who has hostilely taken over Floralia and kidnapped many of its inhabitants. We don't know much about Floralia itself, but we do know plenty about Terenza and Sectonia.
Yeah, so the people of the sky, which is what the people of Floralia are called, the reason why the Dreamstalk had appeared was because Sectonia had kidnapped them to make sure that her rule of beauty would not be abolished. And so the people of the sky, as a one last ditch hope, threw a miracle seed down to the skies below, the lower world, into Dreamland, to call out to a hero to come and save them.
Terenza has been appointed to kidnap the hero of Dreamland by Sectonia, so that way her permanent rule can remain in place, and so she can take over Dreamland as well. However, Taranza misinterprets this. You see, Kirby himself, though he is a brave hero and has saved many places, is not a very well-known person. There are very few characters who actually know who Kirby is, and Magolor from the previous game was an exception. He was actively snooping out Kirby himself. Taranza mistakenly believes that King Dedede, who has now earned the loyalty of his subjects after previously being a self-proclaimed king, Taranza believes that Dedede is actually the hero of Dreamland. So he mistakenly kidnaps him instead of Kirby, which accidentally leads Kirby to traveling all the way up to Royal Road to face down Sectonia himself. In a big rematch, Kirby fights against King Dedede with his mask on from Revenge of the King. A nice callback. Sectonia descends as Taranza pleads for her assistance. Sectonia, her heart grown cold, cares not for Taranza. She casts him aside, blasts him off of the castle steps, and faces Kirby herself. Swinging with her magical spells and massive crystals and these big fucking swords. But Kirby is not one to easily go down, not even to royalty. He's got plenty of experience beating royalty, so he defeats Sectonia. Sectonia weeps and whimpers, but she's not done yet. The Dreamstalk, which is now in bloom thanks to the Sunstones, shines under the glow of the pale moon, and Sectonia, destroying her body to construct a new, more beautiful form, fuses with the Dreamstalk, threatening to consume all of Dreamland and suck all of its life into her own body. Now, Queen Sectonia, let's talk about her. Are we ready to talk about Sectonia, Dan? You wanna take it from here?
Ready to talk about Sectonia. So, Queen Sectonia, as we know her, is a tyrannical tyrant who's only obsessed with beauty and power. But she wasn't always like that. Taranza and her used to be great friends. Some could even say lovers of a sort. And Taranza had come across this magical mirror that he had no way of knowing would eventually lead to her downfall. And he decides to gift it to his friend. And so Sectonia looks through the mirror, and a dark reflection looks back at her. This mirror is the dimensional mirror that it was from Amazing Mirror. It's the same one that Dark Mind had corrupted. And so Sectonia looking through the mirror ultimately led to her being obsessed with beauty and power. Sectonia and Taranza are people, spiders, who have the ability to body snatch, basically. And so, Sectonia, obsessed with beauty, body snatches other beautiful people's bodies and takes them over, basically. Sectonia looks like a gigantic bee, but she looked more similar to Taranza's appearance instead. But because of the body snatching, she no longer remembers what she looked like or who she used to be. All she is obsessed with is beauty and power. And so Taranza lost his friends, all because of something that he did. It's pretty sad, isn't it?
Yes, but Taranza still remained loyal to Sectonia. He continued to work under her, despite her condition. And now, in the present day, Kirby flies in. With Dedede's help and the help of the people of Floralia, he pursues Sectonia's new, heightened, beautiful form. getting closer and closer to the source of the beast. And soon the flower wilts as Kirby lands the final blow. But, as is common for the pink puffball, he celebrates too early. He's captured by Sectonia and squeezed for dear life. Will Kirby too become another one of Sectonia's hosts? But no. Someone carries DDD to the battle. But it's not the Feralians who had helped previously. It's Taranza, who, witnessing the wicked ways of his master and of himself, has chosen to give Sectonia an eternal beauty sleep by helping DDD and Kirby defeat her in the final battle. Taranza launches King DDD at Kirby. DDD knocks Kirby out of Sectonia's grasp, and Taranza, latching on to a hypernova fruit, a fruit capable of enhancing Kirby's power to inhale, he throws it at Kirby. DDD throws Kirby at the fruit, and together they fuse into Hypernova Kirby with his super ability to inhale. Sectonia is no match for his power, and she's blasted into smithereens, never to be remembered, and finally put to rest. And so, Sectonia's grasp on Feralia and on Dreamland weakens. Her Dreamstalk, which had been used by her to constrict the world, now stands as a beautiful landmark in Dreamland. A beautiful blooming flower. And Taranza, well, he's more of a friend now. He still grieves the loss of Sectonia, even to this day. But he's growing. He's becoming a better person as time goes on. Maybe someday he'll find someone else too. But that's not the end of the story. There is an entirely alternate story, which is sort of like a what-if scenario. I'm not saying it's a parallel universe. If you want to believe that, that's fine.
We're not doing that, no.
We're not doing that. This is basically a different world, or a different scenario, in which DDD goes on the adventure instead of Kirby. It's called DDD Tour. Nothing really changes until the very end. You fight a bunch of harder bosses as DDD as he rushes through Feralia with his big hammer just destroying everything. And he finally ends up at Sectonia EX, who he clobbers, of course. But suddenly, Sectonia's vanity appears before him. The dimension mirror itself appears before DDD, and reflecting the darkness within his heart, incarnates Shadow DDD. And DDD swings and smashes against this shadowy counterpart. There's no way he could ever lose to the darkness in his own heart. DDD has come so far. He's grown so much. He could never lose his own flaws. DDD is truly a good-ish person. And so, Shadow DDD stands no measure. He shatters into glass. But the mirror remains. And DDD, feeling a dark force festering inside, is swallowed up inside.
And he faces off against a familiar foe from Amazing Mirror. It's Dark Meta Knight. Dark Meta Knight is still here in the mirror world causing havoc. Dark Meta Knight and King DDD face off against each other, but King DDD is a way stronger hero than Dark Meta Knight could ever hope to be. And so Dark Meta Knight shatters, and so does the mirror. And King DDD finally gets to go home after all of this adventure.
So basically, just letting us know that Dark Meta Knight does still exist. He's still a character. He's not
even
happy.
Even after the events of Amazing Mirror, yeah, he's not happy now. His entire play basically got ruined by Kirby.
Yeah.
He's not happy.
I know many people say that Dark Meta Knight is the one who corrupted Sectonia, but
No, it was
Because I
Darkmon.
mean, yeah. Well, it's not Darkman. It's just the mirror. Because the mirror is evil. The mirror is
Well,
permanently evil.
yeah, because Darkmon
Yeah.
corrupted the mirror because he's
Yes.
in the mirror and then we killed him.
Yeah. Dark Meta Knight is just in there being angry. That's basically
Yeah,
what
he
it's.
surprisingly didn't die after he got defeated. He's still there,
Also,
causing
Shadow
havoc.
Kirby is also in Kirby Triple Deluxe. It's not a big lore thing, but he appears in
Yeah,
the side mode Kirby Fighters, where you can fight him as the final boss. He looks
he's
different.
very he's very evil. He's very
Yeah,
hard. He has a different appearance. We don't know why. He is a
yep,
jerk.
yep. But he's still the same guy. And there's one
Somehow,
other
still the same guy.
extra piece of content at the end of the game. After you do the entire boss rush, you get the fight against Sectonia Soul. Now, we didn't talk about Magolor Soul last time, because Magolor Soul is basically the same as regular Magolor. The only difference is in the remake, he is fully taken over by the Master Crown, and the Master Crown fights using his body, basically. Like, he no longer exists in that form anymore. And when he's ultimately defeated, they are not separated like they are in the normal game. However, here, we are subject to a brand new fight. The fight starts with Sectonia consuming the Hypernova fruits, the miracle fruits, and becoming her soul form. And once that form is defeated, she tears herself free of the dream stalk, leaving behind a gooey form with her 4 wings. She barely even resembles what she used to look like anymore. And her body amorphously shifts and tears, almost like Marx's in a way. And it's quite gross. It's pretty gross. Yeah, it's gross.
Yeah, it's very
Pretty
grotesque. Yes.
It's quite similar to another boss that we didn't talk about from a spin-off named Drossia, who is actually the original Soul boss. Her name was Drossia Soul, of course. This fight is not considered the Zectonia Soul fight is not considered part of the main continuity, but it wouldn't really change anything if it was. It doesn't matter. The end result is the same, but essentially this fight has Zectonia monologue in her hidden description, where she monologues about how she laments the lack of self-understanding she has anymore. She doesn't understand who she is anymore. She's fed upon countless people, so many that she can't even remember herself, as we've discussed previously. And it's not Tyranza who comes to offer her beauty sleep. She herself, in this depressing state, is the one who asked Kirby to permanently put an end to her. Perhaps showing that even she is not fully capable of her own actions anymore. She just wants to disappear. After all the corruption, all of the souls that she's consumed, she cannot bear to exist anymore. And so, in the base game and in this soul boss, Kirby ultimately provides her with her beauty sleep. And now, that is the end of Kirby Triple Deluxe. Soon, though, a new Kirby adventure will come out. While this one was full of plants and life, this one is cold and iron. A new invader from space lands on Popstar and fills it with capitalism and machinery. Next, we'll be talking about Kirby Planet Robobot, the second game on the Nintendo 3DS. Quite some time ago, there was a robotics company called Haltman Works. They were ruled by quite an iron fist by a man named Max Prophet Haltman, who had a young daughter named Susanna Patria Haltman. He worked tirelessly to make plenty of money off of natural resources and robotics and such. But during his excavations of various planets, slowly uncovering new resources and ways of making money, he came across ancient blueprints that detailed the creation of a wish-granting star made of clockwork machinery. Hauptmann, enthralled by this discovery, attempts to have his company recreate this machine. And so they worked tirelessly, trying to repair whatever they could find that were perhaps remnants of such a machine. He kept trying and trying, until he ended up with the Access Arc. Though it was incomplete, it was still capable of doing some things, such as helping them fly to distant planets. They could harvest planets at record speeds now. They didn't even need to worry about doing any legwork, really. They could make machines almost instantly with the power of Stardream. But it wasn't complete yet. It couldn't just grant any wish like the clockwork star that was written. So Hauptmann continued to work tirelessly until he discovered he nearly completed a function called Space-Time Transport Program. And using this program, Hauptmann works can gain access to entirely new dimensions, not just planets, which would obviously be an amazing feat. But as he's testing out the mechanics, thing goes wrong. Hauptmann was careless, and his daughter just so happened to be nearby, a young Susie. And as the portal tore open, Susie was sucked inside. Hauptmann, screaming for help, could not save his daughter. Hauptmann, in his grief, tried hard to find her. He tried begging upon Stardream to grant this one wish, but the incomplete star just couldn't do it. Hauptmann would then dedicate himself to finally finishing Stardream. But in using the control helmet that was created alongside Stardream to, control it, Hauptmann's mind slowly began to slip away as the broken Stardream sipped upon his memories, incomplete, and perhaps attempting to complete itself by using his own mind. And Hauptmann would soon drift into completely forgetting about his daughter and his goal, and the company's view of harvesting planets became even more predatory as his goal became infinite prosperity. Every planet would be completely mechanized, completely taken over, and completely changed using Stardream's power. There would be nothing left on those planets but metal and millions of Halt bucks in Hauptmann's pockets. Someday, though, after traveling across many worlds on her own, Susie would return to Hauptmann Works Company. She greeted her father, but he did not remember her, not even a little bit, though she did feel faintly familiar to him. Susie, who was stricken with grief, soon pushed it down, as she was hired as the executive secretary of Hauptmann Works. She brought with her the DNA of Doomers, blueprints for ancient war machines for Hauptmann Works Company to take advantage of. And Susie, who may have at one point grieved the loss of her father, became disillusioned. Her goal now would be to break Stardream, or perhaps even steal it. Just sell it to anyone to show her father how much of an idiot he was for abusing it and forgetting about his own kid. She grew cold and lost all interest in attempting to recuperate with her dad. She issued a new target, perhaps based on what she found, or just perhaps due to the proximity. She decided that it was time to target Planet Popstar as the next planet to be harvested by Haltman Works Company. And so, the story of Kirby Planet Robobot begins as Stardream fills the skies of Popstar.
Kirby and Co. are having a great time on Dreamland, very peaceful, and then it gets ruined. They look up to the sky suddenly, and they see this gigantic spear with 5 drill legs as it crashes down into the planet and starts to mechanize it. DDD and Meta Knight try to fight off against the invading foes, but they ultimately get defeated. So now it's Kirby's turn to go off and defeat whatever is trying to take over Dreamland this time.
Yeah, they're not doing too good. DDD and Meta Knight both get completely demolished. And it really is up to just Kirby now.
Yeah, it literally is up to just Kirby now. They get defeated very quickly. It's not even funny. And so Kirby...
Yeah.
No. And so Kirby goes through his now mechanized home fighting familiar and unfamiliar foes. People that have been mechanized like Wispy Woods.
Oh, okay. So spoilers, Meta Knight. No. Yeah, Wispy Woods.
Like Wispy Woods. And to a twist from the series of King Dedede being possessed by the big bad. No, it's Meta Knight's turn. Susie has kidnapped Meta Knight and has turned him into Mecha Knight. He has now been possessed and mechanized as well. Kirby ultimately defeats him because Kirby is very powerful. Nothing can really stop him, And so Kirby's mission is to destroy all of the 5 mechanical legs that are drilling into the planet to get access to what we come to learn is called the Access Arc. What ends up being Stardream. Yep. And so Kirby finally confronts the president, Max Prophet Haltman, along with Susie. And Max Prophet Haltman has no clue who Kirby is. Most people don't, as we've mentioned before, and he just thinks he's an insignificant pink specimen that's just ruining his plans. And so he decides to take matters into his own hands, since every other boss that Kirby's defeated has not gone his way. And ultimately gets defeated by Kirby. And he brings out the mind-controlling helmets to control Stardream to try to get rid of Kirby. But Susie snatches it from his hands, because Susie's main goal into getting back into the company is to get access to Stardream. And she tries to take control of Stardream, but that doesn't work. Stardream now has a mind of its own, and has taken control of Haltman's body. Haltman is no longer himself and is just being controlled by a massive supercomputer. Stardream then talks through Haltman and proclaims that it has seen everything that the company has been doing, and its main goal is to have eternal prosperity for the company, and it has learned that all life should be extinguished to continue the company's prosperity. Starting with you. And so the final fight between Kirby and Stardream starts.
As Stardream falls from the sky, as it's blasted from the stars by Kirby and the Halberd, it reactivates. In order to fully complete itself and complete its plan, it's going to need all of itself to defeat Kirby. It attaches to the access arc, removes it from the planet, and faces Kirby as a giant, living, mechanical star. Kirby and Meta Knight fight hard. With each shot, the faceplate of Stardream is removed. Familiar features begin to show themselves as the mechanical star seemingly roars and hisses at them. As the final faceplate is removed, Stardream vanishes. And as it reappears in front of Kirby, to the sound of echoing clockwork, its glossy eyes, open. It wasn't the clockwork star. Isn't just anything. A clockwork star is a galactic nova. Kaltman was attempting to recreate a galactic nova to have his wish granted. And now Kirby and Meta Knight see it in full force as Stardream roars with its cries of birth, and the entire world is altered around it into a tunnel of space-time. They fight and fight through the countdown as Stardream attempts to grant a wish that is impossible, to make Susie appear again. Though Susie is already here, and even if it could, Stardream is still incomplete. It cannot grant this wish, even if it wanted to. And so it's blasted out of the stars. And with the power of a mighty anime reference drill, it's ripped in two. The Robobot armor and the debris of the battle releases Kirby onto the planet below, and with Meta Knight's help, Kirby lands safely. Susie, who is still evil, just leaves. We don't know what's going on with her. She just leaves. She's still evil though, and the mechanization, for the most part, leaves Popstar as well. And now the day is saved. Hooray!
Hooray!
But just like Triple Deluxe, there is another side mode featuring an alternate scenario. This time, it's what if Meta Knight was not mechanized and goes on the adventure on his own. And so he does that, and he fights through all of the bad guys, of course. And when he gets to the end, he destroys Holtman and faces Stardream himself. Stardream, though the space-time transfer program has been disabled, upon Meta Knight's request, and as recognizing Meta Knight as its new administrator, it reactivates the space-time transfer program, hoping to give Meta Knight a good challenge. Before it uses it, however, two clones that have remained unseen in the story mode appear to challenge Meta Knight due to their prowess with the blade. The first of which is a clone of dark matter, which Holtman and his company procured by dubious means, perhaps by debris in space or a distant memory. Though it is a clone of dark matter, it is worth noting that the clone is unable to reach its true form and only does so upon defeat, in which it does not offer anything. The second of which is Sectonia, who has multiple records of the life form she's consumed, but her true form also is not seen until she's defeated, in which she, of course, as mentioned before, looks just like Terenza. And then, Stardream offers Meta Knight a final challenge. A fight with the strongest warrior in the galaxy, much like Nova offered Meta Knight in Kirby Superstar Ultra. Meta Knight faces off against Galactonite, who slashes Stardream, perhaps in retaliation for summoning him and disturbing his slumber. Galactonite fights against Meta Knight. They clash swords, but Meta Knight is ultimately successful. And Galactonite is sucked back into his vortex that perhaps be seen another day. And that's the end of Meta Knight's journey. He just wanted some good fights, and he got it. So, that's the end of that. He
likes fighting people.
Yep, that's the end of that little non-canon shenanigan. However, this story is technically continued in the True Arena. And the True Arena is contextualized as being a combat evaluation program, sort of like a continuously running system, perhaps within Stardream's own mind. Just before the end, you fight Galactonite, and we're gonna have some footage on screen here. If you notice, the way that Galactonite enters in Meta Nightmare Returns and this mode are actually different. The way that Galactonite was defeated in the previous battle is how he returns in this one. And he also ends up being defeated in a different way, similar to how he was defeated in Superstar Ultra. What does this mean? We have no idea. That's up to you. Leave a comment down below.
Maybe they just wanted to do it for fun, who knows?
Yeah. However, the Stardream fight also continues off of the Galactonite situation. Because Galactonite left such a critical wound on Stardream, it activated a new program, the Soul Operating System, which allows Stardream to basically complete itself almost, and begins looking more like Nova, as it is almost a fully perfect clockwork star. But even then, Kirby is still able to defeat it. But Stardream does get the upper hand on him. Stardream completely disarms Kirby, leaving him without his robot armor and the halberd, as Kirby fights inside Stardream. With each hit to Stardream's parts, you can hear Haltman crying out as his soul is being deleted. As we mentioned before, Stardream had been siphoning memories from Haltman, perhaps in an attempt to complete itself. And now that Haltman is inside of Stardream, those memories are coming back to him. In the final battle, he remembers, finally, what his dream was. His wish was to see his daughter again. And as he remembers, he laughs at himself, thinking of it as being so silly, such a silly wish that could never come true. But it's up to interpretation what that means. Surely he knows his daughter is Susie at this point, now that his mind has been returned, but perhaps even then it's unrecognizable to him. Or maybe just the distance that has grown between him and Susie and the time that she's been gone. Maybe she just isn't the person he remembers anymore. He didn't raise Susie. Would she really be called his daughter? And that is the end of Kirby Planet Robot. The Haltman Works Company will continue under Susie's lead, We're uncertain if well, they certainly don't have the ability to take over planets anymore, but it is likely that Suzy will probably continue his Haltman's intentions to some extent. It remains to be seen what Suzy really wants. Hopefully, she'll at least go down a better route. But we'll just have to wait and see. Woman's wrongs, am I right? Woman's wrongs.
Woman's wrongs, yeah.
Yep. Up next, we're taking a bit of a detour. We've been talking about not Magolor for a pretty long time. I think we've been talking about too much not Magolor, right? Like.
Yeah. So we had previously mentioned the place where Magolor ended up. At the end of Magolor's epilogue. This is where he ends up. The next two games. I think they're both continuations of each other. Team Kirby Clash Deluxe and Super Kirby Clash is where the story starts in the Dream Kingdom.
Yep.
An ancient kingdom from a distant past.
Yep. We're gonna talk about Magolor mostly. So great. We'll see you when we talk about that in like literally a couple seconds. We're gonna see.
Yeah, literally a couple seconds.
Okay. I don't like this game.
Team Kirby Clash Deluxe starts out with a warrior called Kirby, and he has heeded the call of the Dream Kingdom in Port Village because monsters are afoot. We don't know why yet, but something has been calling them here. And so Kirby decides to set forth to defend the kingdom. And he faces off against many bosses we have seen before. And so Kirby goes through the kingdom defeating foe after foe, and he ends up recruiting 3 other Kirbys, yellow, green, and blue. Kirby as his main hero type with the sword. Then form Team Kirby to fight off against the monsters and try to figure out who is summoning them and why. They eventually catch the tail of this mysterious summoner, and they learn that it is Dark Taranza who has been summoning these creatures for an unknown reason. And so Team Kirby fights off against Taranza, and they think they've won, but Taranza ultimately escaped them, and he continued to wreak havoc upon the Dream Kingdom. And they eventually find him again, where he decides to summon someone else, someone very familiar, but not a friend. It's King D-Mind, who looks very similar to King DDD. But mysteriously, he has the mask of Dark Mind. And has very similar mural powers.
Are you done talking about Clash yet? I'm back. Is it over?
I'm still talking about Clash, shut up.
Where are you at? Or are we still doing this?
King D-Mind.
Just Magolor. All that matters is Magolor is the same guy. Did you say that? Did you say Magolor is the same guy in the games? It's the
No, I
same
forgot
guy.
about that.
That's literally the main reason we were talking about it. That's like the main point.
I forgot to mention it.
This is all staying in the video. I'm keeping all of this in the video.
Okay. The thing I forgot to mention, since Kirby is a green hero warrior, he's not very powerful. He doesn't have very overpowered equipment. But Magolor is willing to equip Team Kirby with magical armor and swords that have a striking resemblance to other creatures we've seen before. like Dark Meta Swordsman for some reason. And Quake Sectonia. He's charging you gem apples from the gem apple tree that he had planted here ages ago. He's the same Magalore from Return to Dreamland.
Most of the other characters are parallel counterparts, as far as we know. Most of them,
yeah,
not all of them.
All of like the bosses that Team Kirby faces off against in Team Kirby Clash.
The characters.
The Kirby Kirby Clash.
I'm not editing down a single minute
version
of this Clash stuff. I'm not editing down a single minute of this. I'm not spending time on it. It's gonna be a black screen for all of the Kirby Clash talk.
Yeah, sure. This is funny. Let me. I haven't finished talking about it. Let me go back.
Okay, fine.
Anyways, after Don really interrupted me.
Did you even mention how King D-Mind came to exist?
Well, from Dr. Ranzo, yeah.
Okay.
He summons King D-Mind, yeah.
Well, no, he made King D-Mind.
He made King D-Mind with the Vigil Lair, yeah.
His thoughts of a strong warrior.
Yeah, he did that. Sure, whatever.
For D.
And so Team Kirby faces off against King D-Mind, the true final boss of Team Kirby Clash Deluxe, and he ultimately gets defeated. He gets pushed back into the dimensional mirror, and Team Kirby somehow have the ability to just break the mirror from magical powers. And that's the end. And that's the end of that game. And that's the end of that game.
Yeah.
But then we get another game called Super Kirby Clash
and it's the
that
same.
ends differently.
It's the same.
Ends differently. There's a different bad guy this time. It's Parallel Nightmare this time. He's the one who's been summoning all the bosses this time. And so Team Kirby faces off against Nightmare, and Nightmare, in a parallel to Dark Tyranza, also summons someone else instead. He summons Aeon Hero, Galactic Knight's past self.
Well, it's not his past self. It's just the title that he has in the Dream Kingdom because he's not known as Galactic Knight there.
The Dream Kingdom is said to be a kingdom from a distant past. It's his past self.
That doesn't mean it's a past self.
He's
a time traveler. He's literally a time traveler. That's his character. He's a time traveler.
Yeah, his past self with his past powers, where he was the strongest, where he's the strongest he's ever been.
We haven't really talked about Galactic Knight.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about Galactic Knight that much.
This is basically his last major appearance for a while, so I guess we should detail.
It's kind of sad. And so you face off against Galactic Knight 3 times, or Aeon Hero 3 times in this fight. Aeon Hero in base form, Aeon Hero Lights, and then Dark Aeon Hero, where he's his most powerful. And you see in the Dark Aeon Hero fight that his lance attack has turned into heart spears, which will be important for later.
That means yet. Well,
we're not sure what that means yet.
This game comes after that one, so we probably should have waited. I hate Kirby Clash. Just finish it. Oh my god. So let's talk about Galactic Knight as a character, since we haven't really detailed what he's about. Basically, Galactic Knight is considered to be the strongest warrior in the galaxy. Stardream in Robobot mentions that the possible collateral damage of summoning Galactic Knight is multiple planets being destroyed, which is curious. Yeah, it's very weird. But Galactic Knight essentially has been sealed away in crystal by probably the ancients, because they believe him to have been too powerful. This will come up in Kirby Star Allies, but the heart spears that Galactic Knight summons are the same heart spears that will be injected within an ancient vessel of darkness known as the Jamba Heart. So it's heavily implied that he is one of the people who helped seal the Jamba Heart to prevent the spread of darkness across the universe. So that's all we know about him, is that people seem to consider him a threat, the ancients do at least. But he is someone who has done good. He is a hero. Now, does this mean he went insane? Does this mean he has been misunderstood? Does it mean
that the ancients just decided to screw over this particular person because they feared his power? Probably.
Yeah, we don't know for sure, and hopefully we'll find out soon. Now, let's get back to Magolor. Magolor is the important part here. Magolor in Kirby Clash did not open a shop for no reason. It is a dream of Magolor's to someday open a massive theme park so he can hear the screams of everyone in the universe out of joy, as he puts it. So
yeah, sure.
His goal, far before Kirby Clash, is that he wants to open up a shop to sell various wares so he can build up the funds to eventually build a park that he will call Merry Magoland. So Magolor's shop in Kirby Clash is serving that purpose. He created this shop so he could fund his theme park. And in between this, he's actually created various other smaller theme parks for Kirby and King Dedede. In an anniversary collection of Kirby's games.
Called Kirby's 20th Anniversary Dream Collection Special Edition.
Yes,
Magolor made the theme park as an apology towards Kirby for trying to kill him. Isn't that sweet?
Yep. It's a bunch of challenge stages. And then Dedede's Dedede, what the fuck is it called? Dedede Drum Dash.
Yeah, Dedede Drum Dash Deluxe! Woo!
Yeah, Magolor makes a little musical themed theme park for King Dedede. So basically Magolor is it's not confirmed or anything, but I think it could be assumed that Magolor is making these smaller parts to build up to eventually making his bigger part, which he makes, which is effectively the most recent thing in the Kirby timeline.
We didn't mention, but Merry Magoland appeared in Return to Dreamland Deluxe in a distant past. It time traveled. We don't know how he does this.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, Return to Dreamland is the timeline of this series is basically just release date order. That's why we're talking about it like this.
Yeah.
So basically, it's just release date order. So Return to Dreamland is technically in the past of when Merry Magoland is created. Merry Magoland is technically the latest thing in the timeline right now. It's right after Kirby and the Forgotten Land, because it came out after that. So it's after Kirby and the Forgotten Land, which we'll get to. But basically, Merry Magoland is just a theme park that's located on Popstar, and it has statues of all of Kirby's friends, including Elfland from Forgotten Land. So it's just a park to honor Kirby, and it's Magolor's biggest undertaking. That's essentially what it is. It's his dream theme park.
Very fun. Yeah, he has his dream theme park. It's very fun. He invited Kirby and all his friends to partake in it. It's cute.
Very cute. So yeah, now we've got a real doozy of a game coming up.
And we can talk about
pretty dense one.
Yeah, it's very dense. Yeah.
We've got up next is Kirby Star Allies, which we get a lot of answers, but a lot of questions as well.
And a lot of people not understanding those answers too.
Yep, it's very cryptic, but we will do our best to try and make it digestible. Because at the end of the day, it's just going to be our interpretation. All of this is just what we have gleaned from the text. We have to fill in the blanks with some things that aren't explicitly stated.
Yeah.
Yep. So.
And we're right. We're 100% right. We have take no criticism.
Yep, that's true. Do not comment about it. Don't
do not. We will not. We will ignore it.
But like the video and subscribe.
I'll
read your comment. I'll read your comment. I'll read it.
Let me read your comments. Yeah.
Dan's not gonna read it. I'm gonna read it though.
No, I'll read them. I'll read them. How dare you?
No, whatever. Okay, Kirby Styles. Kirby Styles. Here we go, Kirby.
Kirby Styles. Yeah, oh my god. Ah.
The story of the ancients is not a one-sided tale. They were not a completely unified group, as you could probably tell by the existence of Metal General, a machine meant to fight against those who lived on different planets and to squander any potential rebellion. The ancients were split into two broad groups. Perhaps due to specialization. We're not entirely sure, but I like to believe it's because of specialization in the powers they discovered. The mechanical ancients and the magical ancients, to put them in simplified terms. The mechanics made the shells, the machines of steel, and the magical ancients used their spells to imbue them with their full power. The most prominent group of magic users were known as the people of the Jambastian religion. Those people worshipped a matter most dark, an entity that has appeared, and a force that has been insidious, as many characters and many villains throughout the series have continuously shown the influence of darkness on them. This tribe worshipped that power, and they would use it to create various things. A long time ago, far before any of the current events, and even before these tribes were at the place they were at the time, a vessel of darkness appeared from another dimension, from a portal. And when it appeared, its darkness spread across the universe instantaneously, threatening to consume everything in its shadow. It's likely that this darkness is what gave rise to bad guys like Zero and Zero-Two, and many of the other villains we've seen. Even the Master Crown was created using this darkness. The ancients watched in fear as this darkness spread, but suddenly, 4 heroes, wielding spears of heart, stabbed into this vessel of darkness, and it spread no longer. This vessel, which would come to be known as the Jampa Heart, was left dormant, unable to spread its darkness any further. Now, during the time of the Jambastian people, Highness, one of its many officiants, worshipped a god that he deemed to be inside the Jampa Heart. By this point, people didn't necessarily believe in this god, but Highness believed that the Jampa Heart contained the god Void Termina, who, when it was born, would usher the Jambastian people into a new paradise. However, despite this, the ongoing feud between Highness, the Ancients, and many of their other peoples eventually resulted in the mechanical Ancients deeming the Jambastian people too threatening and too dangerous to be kept around. So, they banished them to the edge of the galaxy and left them behind. Now Highness is alone. The planets around him that were once prosperous and ruled by people who he now deems his enemies are ruinous and left with nothing. And in his despair, Highness no longer just wants paradise. He wants to find Void Termina so that Void Termina will destroy whatever paradise those ancients have created. So he seeks out the Jamba heart. When he finally finds it, he tries to break its seal with a spell. But he's not perfectly aware of how to break the seal. And so the heart rises into the sky and bursts into thousands of pieces. The dark hearts that once formed its shell fall upon many, many planets. Of course, including Popstar.
But strangely, there was also pink hearts that had fallen from the sky too. And Kirby got into contact with one of them, and now he has this mysterious power where he's able to throw a heart at people and become their friends. Or friend heart, you could call it. And so Kirby sees another disaster happening in Dreamland. Why does this keep happening? This is like the 6th time or something?
It's reaping the consequences of the ancient's actions.
And so Kirby goes off to figure out what's going on.
A massive blade-like ship jabs into Popstar. Thank goodness it is much smaller than the Axis Arc, but it's still formidable nonetheless. This fortress, known as Gembastion, is being guided by the 3 Mage Sisters, generals among the Jambandran people. Kirby and friends storm the fortress and meet the 3 sisters, who all work together to find the hearts for their master, Lord Highness. Let's briefly discuss the sisters. We'll have a lot more to say about them later. Flamberge is gay. She likes the ice one named Francisca. They are not actual sisters. They are part of a religious sisterhood. So they're not blood related, don't be weird.
And then there's also Zen, Partisan, the electric one, the kind of leader of the group.
Yeah,
she has a lance and she's very fast.
She has a partisan.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
cool.
It's a partisan. She is easily the most striking and fierce. Flamberge is quite irritable and easily gets angry. Francisca is the cool one because she's the ice one. But Kirby and friends do manage to stop them. However, Sam Partisan is not having it. And in a last-ditch effort, she destroys Gembastion's generator on her own, setting the whole ship into disarray, forcing Kirby and friends to use a special ability of theirs.
It's a little friend heart. It's a little friendship mechanic.
They use the Friend Star, which allows them to soar through the crumbling Gembastion and fly out into the far-flung galaxy. Once out there, they see Jambandra base in the distance, with a massive force field around it. They travel to many of the nearby planets to activate their somethings, to activate their Jambandra shield destroyers, I guess? They don't say that. But
they don't explain why we need to go to all these planets. We just do it.
Yeah, this
and it disables the force field where Highness is with the Jamma heart.
Yep.
We're just going to fetch.
But Kirby's not alone this time. He doesn't just have Bandy, Meta Knight, and Dedede this time around. On top of a bunch of random enemies he can recruit, many people from past games are feeling the presence of darkness that is growing at the edge of the galaxy. Many enemies and many former friends are making their first appearance in a long time to help Kirby. We've got Gooey, we've got the animal friends, we've got Marks, who survived and has now decided that, well, if they're going to keep him fed, he might as well help out against this massive threat. Dark Meta Knight is here, who...
Even though he's not redeemed whatsoever, he's still a bad guy.
Dark Meta Knight seems to feel a familiarity within the Dark Hearts, perhaps because Dark Mind was partially a dark matter being himself. He seeks out the Dark Heart. Gooey seems to be wondering where he was created. Since he's a mysterious being, he seems to wonder where he came from and why. So, being that he's dark matter, he's also trying to find his original self by going to the place where this hearts are being gathered. The Roach from Kirby Squeak Squad has also arrived because he believes that the hearts are like jewels, and that if he collects them, he can make money. Yep, that's his job. Adeline and Ribbon are also back from Kirby 64, and they allegedly have been on a journey of their own across the stars. And though they lament being gone for so long, and even though they can't fight very well, they're still glad to help Kirby out on his adventure. And of course, Magolor returns from his little Dream Kingdom escapade with new Gem Emma Bombs and his Ultra Sword from Return to Dreamland Deluxe. Taranza as well comes down from Floralia, and Susie flies in on herself. After all, they might ruin the profits of Altman Works Company. We can't have that. These dream friends travel the galaxy until they finally reach Jambandra Base, the home of Hydus and his wicked clan. And once they finally reach the altar, where Highness is gathering the hearts, they confront him. And he goes on an insane rant about how the ancients have betrayed him, how it's finally time for the birth of his Dark Lord, and a galactic crisis that they once stopped, that they should have been indebted for. And he pants exhaustedly. He's exasperated, he's tired, he's lost his mind to darkness. All he can think about now is destroying anyone's paradise with the power of the god he believes is sealed within the Jamba heart. But this god is no god. For a god who threatens to destroy the world, whose wickedness is so powerful that the world will be crushed under the weight of its power, cannot be a god at all. The Kirby Star Allies refuse to accept that God could be this. Kirby and friends face off against Highness. And Highness, in his desperation, consumes the life of the Mage Sisters who he helped rise to power. He consumes their life force as his own. He uses them for his own friend abilities, as if manipulating the power of friendship to his own dark heart. But Kirby and friends still manage to bring him down. And as he limps up to that altar, he uses the Mage Sisters one last time. He sacrifices their bodies into the Jamba heart. And as he cries out for the birth of his Dark Lord, the birth of Void Termina, he leaps in as well. The heart, once incomplete, is now whole. It soars into the sky, creating an all-new universe for its own birth. The Sea of Stars. Kirby and friends chase on the Friend Star. But the Friend Star is not alone. For the will of the four heroes of yore, who left their heart spears injected within the Jamba heart, their wills combine with the Friend Star to transform it into the Star Allies Sparkler. And now they use the Sparkler to fly into the Sea of Stars, where the false god is formed as the Titanic Void Termina, the source of dark matter. its might, its strength, is a hulking being, emblazoned with Gem Bastion imagery thanks to the influence of the Mage Sisters. They fight hard. They fight inside of Void Terminal, witnessing its embryo being born within. They tear it apart, revealing a bright light, and are thrusted out. Void Termina's wings grow, looking just like 02's. It really is dark matter. It really is the source. Kirby and friends de-wing Void Termina. It crashes to the ground, and entry is permitted once more to finally fight its core, the heart of darkness. And when they arrive, expecting to see dark matter ready to defeat the darkness once and for all, Kirby's own face appears on the core of Void Termina. To the shock of everyone, though none of the Starlights question it, they fight on. But it raises some concerns. Is this mimicry? Is Void simply pretending to look like this? Did it just see Kirby and decide that that was its form? Is there something else going on? We really aren't sure at the current point in time. The Void Termina is ultimately defeated as Kirby and friends fly and force all of their friendly power into Void's dark heart, resulting in its destruction. But the story of Void Termina does not end here. Though it was defeated, there's much more to this tale than meets the eye. But we'll have to get back to it soon.
Yeah, okay, guest star mode. Very similar to DDD's Detour, where instead of playing as Kirby, you play as all of his friends. So when you get to the end of the game, you don't fight off against Void Termina, but instead, Galactonite appears! Oh my god, what? But before Galactonite is about to start the fight, an orange butterfly manifests and lands on his lance. A Galactonite vanishes. And who reappears is a being known as Morphonites.
Student viewers might notice that the orange butterfly has appeared many times throughout different cutscenes. It's been around since Kirby's Return to Dreamland, and was actually planned to be in Kirby's GCN, a cancelled game that was meant to come before Return to Dreamland.
The orange butterfly has been following Kirby this entire time.
Yep, Morphonite has slowly been being drip-fed until they were finally ready to reveal it in Kirby Star Allies. They waited almost literally a decade to reveal this antagonist while having just a little orange butterfly fly around. That is truly insane.
That's literally insane that the orange butterfly is actually a plot point.
So essentially, Morphonite is a knight who appears on Judgment Day. It searches for strong souls to consume, so that way it can take on its nightly form. And perhaps when you're fighting him as the Dream Friend, it's meant to be Morpho Knight judging the characters in a way. But that's all we know about Morpho Knight for now. But the
Morpho
story
Knight's a very
continues.
powerful being. He's very scary.
Yeah, there is an epilogue to the main story, in which Highness and the Mage Sisters have fallen into another dimension. This is a canonical conclusion to the story, in which the Dark Hearts, which once were used to create Void Termina, the hatred felt by those who were once consumed by them, are shouted into different dimensions, in which parallel versions of those characters have manifested. And now Kirby and friends must work together to destroy them, find the hearts, and collect the heart spheres to keep the world at peace once and for all. And at the end of it all, after collecting all the heart spheres and enough of the friend hearts, Kirby and friends are given access to Highness, whose darkness has now consumed him in a Java heart, but the heart sphere is shattered. He is now a corrupt efficient. His mind is completely gone, as the darkness has overtaken its own master. Once Highness is defeated, he falls to the ground, and none other than the three Mage Sisters appear. They berate Kirby. They lament the loss of a prosperous time period for the Jambandran people, when Highness used to lead them towards greatness.
The three Mage Sisters, when they were younger, all found themselves in very dangerous situations. Francesca found herself freezing to death. Flameberg found herself burning to death. And Zanfadizan found herself climbing a huge tower out of desperation when she got struck by lightning. All three of them end up getting saved by the same person. That person being Highness. He then recruited all of them into his cult to worship the Dark Lord and basically indoctrinated them. He unlocked their natures of fire, ice, and electricity, and they embraced them.
And seeing Kirby, who was defeated everything that they've thrown at him, they resolve for one final battle against Kirby, all three of them together versus Kirby and his friends, to finally settle the score, to finally defeat Kirby and prove their darkness to be victorious overall. This time, they are united as friends. Your friendship is completely set at equals to their own bond, and you fight together to defeat the Mage Sisters. And though the Mage Sisters fall, the hearts that Kirby gathered collect together to form a massive friend heart. And Kirby, feeling sorry for the sisters, purifies them with his heart. And feeling Kirby's kindness, the sisters fix the altar, removing the corruption from it and returning it to its normal state. The score is now settled. The Jambastion cult no longer believes in this false god. Though they're not necessarily friends with everyone, they're ready to start a new, happier life. They're ready to show us that they're happy. Kirby and friends say goodbye to the Maple Sisters. This won't be the last time we see them. They also join Kirby as dream friends and choose to just pay him back for what he did. Just one little favor. But he better not get used to it. And that's the end of the Maple Sisters and Highness. Despite their darkness, despite their cruelty, they got a happy ending. Unlike Haltman and unlike Sectoria, they got a happy ending. And maybe some might say that Highness didn't deserve that. Maybe they didn't deserve that, but it's nice to just see people happy. Isn't it?
Yeah, because that's what Kirby's all about, you know? Kirby just wants to have friends. He just wants to play around, you know, with his friends.
Yep.
It's cute.
There's someone else we forgot about. Do you know who it is? Someone who hasn't gotten to be made happy, yes. Void.
It's Void.
There is more to Void Termina than we have initially believed. If you play through the 2 true arenas, there's 2
Soul
in this
Melter
game.
and Soul Melter EX of the Ultimate Choice.
You are invited to fight Void Soul and Astral Birth Void, 2 separate fights. And in the text for those fights, you learn things about Void Termina. You learn that Void Termina isn't just an evil being. Void Termina is one of many, many voids. The void exists across all different dimensions, different iterations of itself across variants of space-time. Void is considered to be, or at least theorized to be, the origin of all matter in the universe. Despite that, however, Void is also capable of being imbued by the feelings of people that it meets, allowing itself to become a new life form beyond just being the origin of which life springs from. Voids, once they encounter a certain type of energy or a certain person imbues them with life and energy, they begin to reflect that person's personality and resemble them. They essentially copy them in a way, like Kirby's copy ability. Voids take influence from other people and their thoughts to inform the form that they will take and once they are born. And depending on the energy gathered, you could end up with a destroyer of worlds or an ally
of the stars.
When you play story mode, you play as Kirby. Void Termina sees Kirby and resembles his face. It might seem like a coincidence, it might seem like there isn't anything deeper beyond that. But if you play Soul Melter EX, you will have to eventually play as a character that isn't Kirby. And when you get there, you'll realize that song that's playing, that's still Green Greens. That face he's making, that's still Kirby. Even though you're playing as someone else. It's not just Kirby. It's that positive energy, the power of your friendship that's truly influencing Void. There's something more to Void Termina and Kirby than we initially believed. When you finally fight Afterbirth Void, you are given a truly beautiful piece of text.
Finishing this battle, surpassing all those stars, Void slowly begins to step into the next era, enveloped by the gentle spring breeze. Even he, who only knows how to crush others, descends into a distant paradise before he even knows it, with an understanding of the heart. In that place, he can fly free. He can have a meal and take a nap too. Maybe he'll see that dream again, the one he once had a long time ago. Yes, that dream of meeting a friend.
Spring breeze that once enveloped Kirby and brought him to Dreamland. Void Termina dreamed of the exact same thing. Void Termina and Kirby perfectly parallel each other. The copy ability, the face, everything.
The dream of friends reunited.
And when you
Kirby's all
finally
about
beat Astral Birth Void, he approaches that new era with a smile on his face. Kirby's smile. And when it's all over, you unlock Classic Kirby as a playable option in the game. Void Termina could have been Kirby. If the situation was right, he could have been another Kirby. He is a parallel Kirby from a different dimension.
We finally get a reason for why Kirby is able to do this, why Dark Matter is so obsessed with Popstar, where Dark Matter came from, and what would Dark Matter be like if they weren't a being of darkness? It would be someone like Kirby.
Just as much as Kirby, or just as much as Void Termina could have been Kirby, Kirby could have been Void Termina. We're lucky.
They're two sides of the same coin.
Is so kind. And sure,
Unfortunately, we don't know if Floyd ever actually gets their happy ending. They wish they could be like Kirby, and hopefully they get to in some other world.
It's said that Void will continuously travel to stars, at least one terminal will. And he'll reappear again someday. And when he does, I hope it'll be as a friend. Now that we're done with Kirby Star Allies, Kirby has waved goodbye as a new era of Kirby begins.
A farewell to Kirby.
Yep. Up next, Kirby gains the Z access and enters 3D for the first time in a strange world. In a world where the ancients might have originally come from. What?
What?
We're going to the very start of everything. We are going to learn the origin of the ancients and their creations in Kirby and the Forgotten Land plus Star-Crossed World. Are you ready? This is the big ending, the big finale.
The big finale of what we currently know about.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's do it. Before Popstar, and even before Halcondra, There was another world in which the ancients, as we know them, originated and gained their untapped power to cross into new worlds. This land, now known as either the Forgotten Land or the New World by those who found it now, was once inhabited by simple, regular people who lived in cities and towns, nothing too major. But one day, a meteor fell from the sky, all the way from outer space. But this meteor, containing an alien life form, threatened to destroy all life on the planet. However, people of the New World managed to capture this alien creature. They dubbed it the ultimate life form, Fecto-Alphalus, and they kept it within their lab discoverer. Upon studying this creature's power, the people of the New World soon realized that this creature contained the incredible spatial transportation ability, allowing it to create portals to other worlds. Something unheard of to these ancient peoples. They realized if they tapped into this being's power, they could travel to any planet and any dimension that they wanted. So they began research immediately. However, 30 years after their research began, a warp experiment incident, as it was dubbed, occurred. A specimen separated from the main life form and escaped in the aftermath. The left behind Fecto-Alphalus, now in a larval state, was dormant and inactive. To the scientists of Lab Discoverer, it was practically useless. However, they had already gotten everything they needed. 30 years of experience with this technology has allowed them to create warp panels that they use in regular shopping malls and discover new planets, some of which might be familiar to those we've seen in the Kirby series. They decided to turn the newly named Fecto Forgo into a tourist attraction, leaving an echoing tour to screech through its halls as Forgo remained trapped in the eternal capsule, the only thing keeping it together and keeping it alive. Many, many years pass, and eventually the people of this forgotten land determine that they're ready to move on, for one reason or another. They make preparations, they create things to encourage people to leave, including catchy music and a wonderful theme park called Wandaria, themed after space. And eventually, they leave, leaving behind Fecto Forgo to rot and listen to the thrilling echoes of the Tor, or, over and over. But Fecto Forgo is no fool. If Fecto remains here alone, the facility will run out of energy, and it will eventually die, as the capsule will not be able to sustain its life any longer. Fecto Forgo needs to find its other half, and it needs to power the facility. It recalls a planet shaped like a star. Native to that planet were creatures called Waddle Dees, workaholics, and subservient to boot. At one point, that the ancients had something in this laboratory, hamster wheels, or energy wheels of some sort. They would have native life forms running through it, operating it. And so, they began formulating a plan to gain a workforce, gain an army, and reclaim their power.
Kirby and the gang are just having a grand old time in Dreamland when suddenly spatial portals start appearing everywhere, kidnapping all of the Waddle Dees of Dreamland, and Kirby also himself winds up getting sucked into one of the portals. Though he tries to fight it off as best as he can, he ultimately gets sucked in. And when he gets sucked in through the power, his body stretches and morphs. He winds up in a new land. He eventually finds himself towards civilization. It's the Waddle Dees. And they appear to have built a town that is now in ruins. All of the Waddle Dees that had appeared here are being kidnapped and have been taken somewhere else. So Kirby sets off on an adventure to go find them. And while he is rescuing the kidnapped Waddle Dees, he also winds up rescuing someone else. A strange, filthy creature called Evelyn. Evelyn is also someone who is concerned about the kidnapped Waddle Dees. So Evelyn decides to tag along with Kirby to go and save the Waddle Dees together. Kirby and Evelyn eventually find themselves facing off against this group of people called the Beast Pack.
The Beast Pack. The Beast Pack.
The leaders of this forgotten world.
The Beast Pack. I love the Beast Pack. Do you love the Beast Pack?
We love the Beast Pack. We love the Beast Pack. The Beast Pack is so cool.
Let's talk about the Beast Pack. Okay, let's talk about the Beast Pack. The Beast Pack are just wild animals. That's literally it. They're just wild animals. But someone has enlisted them to kidnap Waddle Dees. Isn't that scary?
That's very scary.
Yes. While they're wild animals, they do actually have some human-ish intelligence. First main member of the Beast Pack we meet is Gorimondo, who is part of the elusive Beast Pack Council, the bosses of this game, excluding one. Gorimondo is the muscle of the operation. He lives inside of the mall. He considers that his main base. You could even find a banana horde inside. Gorimondo doesn't take kindly to intruders, but Kirby makes quick work of this hulking gorilla. In the next world, this guy's not part of the Beast Pack. It's a tree. It's just Wispy Woods, but he's really fat. He's like Maui from Moana. He's a Maui tree. You like Moana, Dan?
Yeah.
Like Moana? That's great. I can imagine him singing the stupid song. This is not going in a video. and then the third world, Humana. The Beast Pack's informant and second in command? Clawroline is a leopard, and she has a design. Dan, what do you feel about Clawroline's design? Do you have any strong opinions?
Looks like a stick.
Yep, stick.
She has a very like sickly pale.
Yeah. We should also talk about where you fight Clawroline.
Body.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She's certainly got a body.
Yeah.
She definitely has a flair for the arts. Apparently, she actually didn't have to come here, because as her job as an informant, she doesn't need to do any fights, but she was interested in pursuing Kirby on her own, so she came all the way to the theme park of Wondaria. Now, Wondaria is a theme park made by Wondaria, the person. Wondaria owns a dog, and he made the mascots of the park based on this dog. These two mascots are egg-shaped dogs named One Dog and One D. Count how many times we said dog. Count how many times I said dog. It's a lot of times. But One Dog and One D appear all over Wandaria as its mascots, and they love going on space adventures, according to some informational pamphlets about the park. Wandaria is all themed around outer space. It was created in an attempt to allure people into the charm of space travel, essentially getting people to move to a certain place that was sung about in the song Welcome to the New World. Said New World being a sort of dreamland, so to speak. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wonder what that means.
What that means,
Kirby
yeah.
Adventures, he can also find ability blueprints. These blueprints are quite curious, as they're implied, at least some of them are implied to have been created by the people who live here and who have studied Kirby, perhaps. As you can see a glimpse of Kirby on the blueprints if you look close enough. It seems as though the people of this new world were perhaps attempting to understand the copy ability for themselves. Now, this has to be a different Kirby, so it really raises a question. Where is this Kirby? What happened to him? We may never know. It's very interesting to see that they were attempting to find a copy ability for themselves. And funnily enough, certain characters, like the King Dedede, who we've yet to get to, but we'll get to him, Meta Knight, and certain other characters have ability scrolls unique to them. These scrolls might actually have been made by those people. Not by the ancients, but by the people who own them. So it's very likely that they might have, maybe since the ancients are trying to study the copy ability based on what these people know, people from Popstar already know how it works. After all, they live with Kirby, right? Like, they would know, right? So it would be easy for them to just make their own ability scrolls for Kirby. And that's cute, right? It's cute to think that they found ancient research and decided to try and replicate it themselves. That's nice.
It's adorable. That's cute.
That's mostly speculation. Most of that comes from the Forgotten Land Japanese novel. I don't know if we're gonna bother putting that on screen. It's gonna take a long time to find, but
yeah,
it's okay. You can take it with a grain of salt, but it's just some food for thought. Once you beat Clomberline and finish off Wandaria, a new opponent appears in Waddle Dee Town. It's actually an old friend. Meta Knight, arriving late to the party, appears and challenges Kirby in the brand newly created Coliseum. It seems the Waddle Dees, as Kirby has saved them, have been working to rebuild their town. Apparently they thought theater was important enough to build first before anything else. I guess entertainment is important, according to them. But now, Meta Knight challenges Kirby in the newly created Coliseum. And that's where you get the aforementioned Meta Knight Sword blueprint. Isn't that fun?
It's adorable.
Meta Knight is actually protecting Waddle Dee Town. While Kirby is out adventuring, Meta Knight remains in town, protecting it from the Beast Pack continuously. And according to him, I'm not sure if this is true, but people are saying, many are saying, he beat Gorimondo 30 times. Do you believe that, Dan? I don't know if that's true.
I mean, he did make a wish to go fight the strongest warrior in the galaxy. He is kind of a junkie for fighting people. He probably could have done that.
Yeah.
That's a very in character for him, right?
30 times, huh? I wonder,
30 times though. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. But now we come to the end of the Arrival Continent, the frozen streets of Winterhorns. Kirby travels through Winterhorns, and throughout the Winterhorns and many other worlds are wanted posters for Kirby and Elfilin. However, once Kirby reaches the battle for Blizzard Bridge, in which he must engage in rigorous boss battles against the Beast Pack's many mini-bosses, he sees a lot of wanted posters for Elfilin. But he takes down each one. After all, that would never happen. No one would ever get Elfilin, not this easily. Let's discuss some of the mini-bosses, because most of them actually are from Planet Popstar. Dan, do you want to talk about some of the mini-bosses?
Bunkers, Gigant, Edge, and Mr. Frosty all wound up coming to the Forgotten Land from the mysterious portals, but they got overtaken by the wilderness, so now they're wild versions of themselves. And they look
LARPing. They just want to LARP.
Yeah, they're LARPing, yeah.
And they are accompanied by a friend in the beast.
And they're much more powerful. And the evolved copy ability blueprints are also based upon them.
Yep. I imagine the kidnapped Waddle Dees might have copied some of that, because I imagine they probably got carried off by those guys. We also have a native mini-boss named Florina. She is a tornado user. I think she's the first tornado mini-boss we've ever had, is she not?
I'm pretty sure she is, yeah. Tornado's not usually a mini-boss.
Yeah, but Florina is a wonderful dancer, and she's a significantly less wild than her pop star compatriots, to the point where she even kind of considers them to be a little bit intimidating in how much they're immersing themselves in the wildness of the Beast Pack. But they still work together nonetheless. But there is another member of the Beast Pack who came from Popstar originally. Someone who is quite high in their ranks, even despite their recent appearance. Once Kirby reaches a cathedral in Winter Horns, he sees the back of someone familiar. Daniel, do you know who it is? I think we know who it is.
I think we know who it is for the fifth time now. It's King Dedede.
Yes, King
He has
Dedede.
been possessed yet again by the Beast Packs.
Yep. It's worth mentioning the person in charge, Forgo, who did manage to control Dedede's mind, failed to control Meta Knight's mind. They tried, but Meta Knight is just built different after Star Allies and just had enough willpower to not be taken over. What a Chad.
What a champ, yeah.
I love that guy. I said Chad.
Wait, like that guy. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I know what you said.
It's okay. Wow, you didn't want to say it.
No.
But, of course, Kirby defeats Dedede. But just beating someone isn't a big accomplishment. Kirby does that plenty. No, Dedede has got many a whooping in his lifetime. He knows Kirby does his funny little dance afterwards, and he sneaks up behind with a cage in hand, and before Kirby knows it, Elfilin is captured, and Dedede flies away.
Oh no!
Somewhere unknown, yeah, oh no. And now Kirby, and also Bandana Waddle Dee, who we have neglected to mention, but he is the second character you play as in this game, he's also helping out. They return to Waddle Dee Town empty-handed. They do save the Waddle Dees, but they did not save Elfilin. And now Elfilin has been dragged to the Forbidden Island, the location of Lab Discoverer. Forgo's plan is nearly complete.
Kirby goes alone, along with Bandana Waddle Dee, but it doesn't matter, to the Forbidden Island to go take back his friend Elfilin and save the remaining kidnapped Waddle Dees. The first place he goes to is a very sandy place, which used to be an ocean, actually, as you can see by rusted ships sunk into the sand.
Yep, it's been a long time that these people have been gone. This place is called Original Wasteland. The reason it's called Original is because the Beast Pack was originally from this island. Here in Original Wasteland, you can find primal Awwoofes, who are actually the short ancestors of the Awwoofes who are on the initial continent Kirby lands on. Seems everyone in the Beast Pack actually originated from this island and continued to move south to the continent in order to find the Waddle Dees. You can actually notice Gorimondo has an anchor around his neck, which, as you can see in Original Wasteland, there's plenty of ocean-themed things, and including a ship, like Dan just mentioned. So, pretty nice attention to detail. The boss of Original Wasteland, once Kirby reaches the caverns in the Sleepless Waste, Kirby arrives at the Beast Pack's craftsman, the one who created the wanted posters, the one who created the cages, possibly. Silly Dillo. He's quite a funny guy. Kind of gets on some of the Beast Pack's nerves sometimes, but they always get along in the end. Silly Dillo, as mentioned previously, is a craftsman of the Beast Pack. He creates many different things, including his own little art projects like Kirby bombs and a fake Elflin, and even a girlfriend. That's weird. Right?
That's very weird.
Yeah.
That's very weird.
But Silly Dillo, he's just a silly guy. He likes making silly things. And he's just funny. But Kirby takes him down easy. He saves the Waddle Dees, but there's no sign of Elflin. It seems King Dedede has gone even farther with Elflin. And we need to hurry. Lab Discoverer is just up north. If we don't make it there fast, well, Kirby doesn't know it yet, but there's trouble on the horizon. The ultimate life orb is about to regain its power. So Kirby, even though you don't know it, you gotta hurry, bro. We gotta speed it up. And finally we reach the final area. Redgar Forbidden Lands. A city built near an inactive volcano. But it's been so long that this volcano has regained activity and the entire city is engulfed in flames. This is the Beast Pack's main headquarters. You can see totems of their lion-like leader displayed all over. You can see their little camps made out of twigs and leaves. This is truly the Beast Pack's homeland. They howl with ferocity, ready to guard their land from Kirby's onslaught. Kirby soon meets with the full Beast Pack Council. And within the confines of the thermonuclear plant of the Forbidden Lands, he fights the Beast Pack in their final stand. They are throwing everything they can at Kirby for an unknown reason, but with all of their passion nonetheless. Every Beast Pack member does their best. As Kirby pushes through them, he finally reaches the bottom of the plant, where all the magma flows, and there, after taking a lift, he sees King Dedede struggling with a mask. King Dedede, now named Forgo Dedede, has been possessed even further with a pig-like mask, perhaps to humiliate him, and to redeem him as just a fat loser. That's really mean. Come on, that's not even necessary. Come on, man.
Come on, man. Dedede's been knocked down enough. You don't have to do that.
And even when Kirby beats Dedede, Dedede gets back up, and now he's running on all fours. Dude. Forgo is actually a complete jerk. That is so unnecessary, bro.
That is so unnecessary.
Put Dedede in a pig mask and is making him run around on all fours like a wild animal. I would not. That's so embarrassing, bro. But yes,
Dedede doesn't deserve this.
Yeah. Well, yes, of course. Kirby frees Dedede for this possession. The mask breaks. And Dedede and Kirby joyfully greet each other, alongside the saved Waddle Dees. However, the Beast Pack is hot in pursuit. They're just about ready to corner them. But an elevator behind opens. Kirby has the chance to escape with Dedede, but a Waddle Dee trips. No! He's gonna get eaten alive!
No! You have to save him now!
But Dedede, he turns around and he says, I won't let one of mine go. And then he runs back, he throws the Waddle Dee in the elevator, and he faces the Beast Pack with his hammer in tow, sacrificing himself. Well, he's not going to die, but he's probably going to get hurt pretty bad, because that's a lot of animals. That's probably going to hurt.
Yeah, a lot
also, we just hurt him a lot, so yeah. He's probably going to get... He's not going to recover well from that. But, wow. As the elevator shaft rises, a voice chimes in.
Automatic language detection activated. Authentication system activated. Authenticating. Authenticating. Entry code approved. Initiating facility navigation protocol.
Welcome visitors to the Dream Discoveries Tour of our science facility, Lab Discovera. On this thrilling tour, you'll be introduced to the ultimate life form, specimen IDF-86. From the moment IDF-86 arrived on our planet, it began a campaign of destruction that threatens the native wildlife of our entire world. Luckily, our research team managed to capture it before it could complete its invasion. Once it was contained, our lab began studying IDF-86's spatial teleportation ability. Research that laid the groundwork for the planetary warp technology we enjoy today. However, 30 years after our research began, a warp experiment incident occurred in this facility. A new life form, separated from the main specimen, escaped in the aftermath. That new subspecimen has yet to be recovered. In the time since, IDF-86 has shown no signs of activity. It is now kept in a state of permanent stasis within the custom-made Eternal Capsule here on the top level of Lab Discovera. And here we are. Let's meet the ultimate life form, specimen IDF-86.
Kirby is aghast. What the heck is that thing? It's hideous. But below it is a kindly lion. A kingly lion, even. He claims to be named Leongar. He is the leader of the Beast Pack, and is the only one who knows how to speak full English sentences, well, human language sentences. He speaks to Kirby of the ones who used to live in this forgotten land, those who have abandoned it for a land of dreams, perhaps even, well, I don't want to say it, I don't want to be that guy, but land of dreams, anybody? You know what I'm saying? Right? You know
Land of dreams, anybody?
Yeah, it almost brings it full circle. An attack on Dreamland. The people left to Dreamland. It almost seems too perfect. But why is Leongar interested in going to a land of dreams with the power of Fecto Forgo? It doesn't seem like this would benefit them at all. They're just animals. Well, let's get back to Forgo's plan, as Forgo now has access to Elfland, their other half. Forgo had once discovered Leongar and Clawline, who had entered Lab Discovera from exploring their homeland. Forgo, sensing that Leongar could easily be the king of the animal kingdom, immediately takes over his mind, imbuing it with new knowledge and human language. And though Clawline doesn't understand, she listens. Leongar has been taken from a normal, ordinary animal and been thrust into the role of a pawn, used to create the Beast Pack and find Elfland and the Waddle Dees, all in accordance to Forgo's plan. Once every Waddle Dee, or at least as many as necessary, were brought to Lab Discovera, the Eternal Capsule would be powered. Forgo would be able to better sustain itself, and once it was strong enough, it would take Elflin and consume the entire beast pack. Forgo has no plans to take the beast pack to a land of dreams. They are only pawns in its goal to gain freedom and invade planets, just as it used to do. Now that brings us back to the present day. Kirby faces Leongar, ready to free his new friend Elflin. And as he fights, Leongar holds his head in pain. He cries out. Leongar isn't in control. As his eyes cry out psychic energy, it becomes clear Forgo's power over Leongar is immense. He's not himself. This is really one of the first times you've seen a possessed character show so much pain. Leongar really is just a normal person. He's never done anything wrong. He doesn't have any aspirations. He just listened to this alien life form that has taken advantage of him and his simple life. And now he's struggling. He's vomiting lasers. His claws are burning with psychic energy. He is in great pain. But Kirby manages to stop him and at least give him some kind of rest as he's knocked out cold. And Kirby saves Elflin, breaking him free from his mini eternal capsule, and they do another celebratory dance. But Forgo isn't done. This took years of careful planning, figuring out just where the ancients went, just what they had, just what Forgo needed to create this perfect opportunity for its freedom, listening to that ridiculous tour playing over and over and over. It isn't fair. There's no more time for planning, and there's no more time for patience. In order to gain freedom, Forgo must consume everything. And as if fate itself decreed, the beast pack suddenly pours through the elevator, having torn through Deity. And like lambs to the slaughter, Forgo consumes each and every one of them, including Leongar, and gains a disgusting, monstrous form as it pursues Kirby and Elflin down the halls of Lab Discoverer. But in a desperate fit, it manages to finally capture Elflin. The power finally is focused, it's finally returned. And IDF-86, the ultimate life form, is almost complete. It escapes, but Kirby makes chase to a helipad atop Lab Discoverer. And finally, the ultimate life form takes shape. The one who is the original source of power for the ancients. The one who caused all of this. The ultimate life form, Vecto Alphabus. Elphalus swings its caduceus-like spear and tarries with grace and beauty, flying upon its massive ears. Elphalus is a beautiful and graceful entity. It's no wonder it has been viewed as the ultimate life form by those who encountered it long ago. And finally, Kirby strikes Elphalus critically, and it falls to its knees. Elphalus is in view. Kirby, save Elphalus! You ever save Elphalus? Go, Kirby, hurry! And Kirby spins and he spins and he alpha modes and it's kind of gross. And the spear's coming. Kirby, oh my god, Kirby, and boom!
Kirby, oh no, ooh.
Elphalus is free.
Elphalus is free, Kirby got it back. Yay! Yay! They celebrate. It's not over yet, though. Elphalus, though a shell of its former self gooping in defeat, is not ready to admit that all of their careful planning is going to be defeated by this little thing. So, they summon a gigantic portal of planet Popstar. And they're going to take Popstar down with you.
You could say two planets are approaching the Roche.
Two planets are approaching the Roche limits.
Yes. They're gonna tear each other apart with their gravity.
They're gonna tear each other apart with their gravity. With
a
gravitational orbit.
How's Kirby gonna stop this one?
How's Kirby gonna stop this one? Oh look, a gigantic monster truck just conveniently falls out of the sky. And so Kirby and Elphalus malformated and chase after Elphalus.
Bayonetta moment. It's just Bayonetta.
Very much. Elphalus tries to stop them by summoning more portals with meteor and rocks and other beastly enemies, but Kirby dashes on through them. Elphalus tries to do one last strong attack, but without Elphalus's power, he and Kirby are ultimately victorious, and Elphalus gets vanquished.
However, they land on planet Popstar, and things are not peaceful. The portal is still open. The gravitational pull of the two planets is still pulling them apart. Who can close this portal? We must wonder. But Elphalus, he is part of Fecto Elphalus. He has the power to close this portal. So he flies into the sky, and using the remainder of his energy, he closes the bound between worlds. And Elphalus, thanking Kirby for everything, dies. Thank you, Elphalus.
Thank you, Elphalus.
You did so much for us. And oh, never mind, he's alive! He's alive!
Oh my god, what?
Oh my god, he's alive!
Oh my god! Oh my god, he's alive! He's sneezing!
What?
Oh my god! What?
Who could have seen this coming? It literally happened 5 seconds later. What?
A little bit, but it's like a time dilation, man. Time dilation.
Yeah, time dilation. And thanks to that, the Beast Pack has no reason to fight Kirby. Forgo was literally the only reason they were fighting. So now the Beast Pack is just our friends, because they're just literally just animals. They're literally just animals.
Literally just animals. They had nothing to do with this.
Okay, wait. Okay, you saw those pictures, right? Where was Leongar? Did they forget Leongar? Where's Leongar?
What? Yeah, wait. Where is Leongar? He's supposed to be celebrating with us. Where'd he go?
That's weird. Yeah, that's weird.
That's weird.
It's fine.
It's fine. Everything's fine. The game's over. We win.
Thanks to Elflin, we have access to the new world and Dreamland freely. Thank you, Elflin. But Elflin has a request for us. Apparently, Clawline, who's now just hanging around in Waddle Dee Town, actually nursed Elflin back to health. Thank you, Clawline, for doing that for us. But apparently Leongar is missing, and Clawline is looking for him. Elflin thinks that in order to pay back Clawline, we should try to find Leongar. And by doing so, we stumble across a vortex. And this mysterious vortex takes us to Forgo Dreams, the mental dream world of Fecto Elfilus. Apparently, Fecto Forgo is not done. Though we defeated its body, its mind, its powerful mind, has retreated to this dream world to recuperate. And using its immense psychic power and the memories of the new world, it is going to create a new army of psychic beasts to take over the world. And on top of that, it has destroyed Leongar's soul, fragmenting it across its dreamscape so it can claim his body for its own. Oh my god.
Oh my
So
god, man.
we're
What the
not in
hell?
the clear, not even a little bit. We celebrated way
Not-
too early.
Yeah, we celebrated way too early. This is not over yet. They are not ready to admit defeat. They've suffered so much for so long.
Kirby and
not over.
Elflin trek through Forgo Dreams, gathering as much of Leongar's soul as they can. And once they travel through every island, vanquishing Forgo's beasts, they finally reach the last area, Forgo Land. Whoa. Title drop. Almost a title drop.
Yo, almost outfit, almost.
They reach Forgo Land, where Leongar is being held within a mirage of Lab Discoverer. Kirby and Elflin, with Leongar's soul in hand, offer them to him, and he absorbs them happily. Leongar, for now, is freed. And they do a little dance together. Leongar doesn't get it at first, but he comes along. But of course, Forgo isn't done. Leongar suddenly is stricken with a terrible migraine as Forgo, its angry soul within its body, strikes within. Now it's time for Kirby and Elflin to face off against Forgo Leon. This fight is goated. This is like the best fight in the game, I
This
think.
is the best fight
At
of the
least
game. It's so cool. It's pretty hard. It's so cool.
Yes, Forgo puts out all the stops, even appearing on its own to fight against Kirby with a mind crash and shockwaves. Leongar, while full of the dark energy of Forgo's power, strikes viciously, all in Kirby's face. It's truly an intense battle. Leongar is being perfectly comforted by Forgo. But if we fight so hard, Leongar might not make it. We have to fight quick. Kirby strikes down Leongar. He lands on his former throne, but Forgo is sick. It's tired. If this worthless lion can't do its job, then Forgo will have to do it itself. It didn't want to have to, but Forgo will go through any measure necessary to ensure it becomes complete, and thus begins the fight against Soul Forgo.
And here stands Morpho Knight in all their glory.
Invading this dream world, this knight, absorbing the power of Forgo, is ready for an all-new battle. Finally, it can face Kirby. After watching him for so long across many different games, it will finally get its opportunity to rival Kirby 1-against-1. Unless Bandana Waddle-Dee is there, then he also has to fight Bandana Waddle-Dee. But yes, Morpho Knight engages battle with Kirby, completely disregarding any narrative that was trying to be built with foreground. It's Morpho Knight's turn. And it's interesting because this fight almost feels like something familiar. Like, Forgotten Land has had so many alien concepts, these strange animal people, this literal alien, this new world filled with human civilization. And to see Morpho Knight almost feels like familiarity. It almost feels like a cameo in a way. Like, Morpho Knight shouldn't even be here. It's really amazing, and this song really emphasizes that. Having heard Morpho's song in Star Allies, which is cold and mysterious, this song almost is here to say, yes, I am Morpho Knight, and of course I am here. Did you ever expect me to not be here? I am Morpho Knight. I demand attention. I demand my presence be known. And you will engage in battle. Kirby, with his infinite power, strikes down this dream-eating butterfly. Morpho Knight, accepting defeat, lends Kirby a final blueprint, perhaps of its own creation, for the Morpho Knight sword. A blueprint for an ability so powerful that many might not be able to wield it. But for Kirby, it's a breeze. But that's not it though. Leongar is still limp in his throne. But there's no more soul to give him. They already gave him the soul that they found. They found every soul in the Forgo Dreams. But it wasn't enough. Leongar is limp and motionless. Were they too late?
But the peace back
The what?
come into.
You said
what?
the piece back. Say that again. Start
I did not say that.
You said the piece
Okay.
back.
I did not say that, but okay. The Beast Pack come in to the scene, carrying the rest of Leongar's soul, and they save him. Leongar is finally brought back to his senses, his soul in one piece. And the Beast Pack celebrates with their leader, and everything's all back to normal. Except it's not.
Now, well, all their simple lives are back to normal. The fun little animal kingdom, though they were formed under the pretenses of world domination, now they get to just live their lives together. Maybe they have new friends along the way. However, during the fight with Morpho Knight, something strange happened. Once Morpho Knight was defeated, a strange silhouette appeared. Something, or someone, has taken the power of Morpho Knight and left with it. Where's it gone? To the Colosseum. But we're not ready for that yet. We're in the Forgotten Land. In the year of our Lord and Savior 2025, got a side story added. A story that runs congruently to the mainline one, but we'll talk about it separately since it's easier. It's got a lot of stuff in it. So it's time for us to discuss Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Star Across the World. Long, long ago, far before the New Worlders even existed, even before them. Their ancestors who lived on the planet were privy to a prophecy that they inscribed in a poem. This prophecy told of past and future alike, where meteors would fall from space, and with them, either continents would be sunken or all life on the planet would be threatened. The meaning of this prophecy was lost to time for a long, long time. However, as the New Worlders began to prod and poke, someone was gifted a dream, a prophetic dream, that showed the truth behind the prophecy. And as the New Worlders realized, this prophecy had already somewhat come to pass. The entity known as Facto-Elfless had once arrived on the planet via a meteor, and it threatened life itself. And they soon realized that there were many sunken continents from ancient times that also were connected to meteors crashing. They realized that someday, somehow, their final continent, their only remaining home, would be sunken by this meteor. And they were already dealing with overpopulation. They had to devise a plan to leave before this meteor arrived. So, thanks to this strange prophetic message, they began using the power they gained from Facto-Elfless to create spaceships that they dubbed the Spaceship New World, with a design similar to a ship they would iterate in the future. They started creating propaganda, a theme park called Wandaria, and they hired a talented singer to sing a beautiful song, Welcome to the New World, and another song, Twinkling Star Showers, which will be played on the day of the ship's departure, a song that sung of the prophecy gifted to them by the Star Children. This meteor's unwanted children, their song carried the fate of both past and future, a warning, but also a premonition. Though not everyone left, many did upon the Spaceship New Worlds, and they left the planet behind. No need to worry about their fate or that meteor that would fall someday. But now, in the present day, as Kirby and friends cross this forgotten land, that meteor has finally come to sink the final continent of the New World. But, thanks to the power of the Star Children, it narrowly misses, landing in the ocean and rising with it a mysterious volcano. This evil meteor might threaten to wipe out all life on the planet. But according to a legend, the Stars of Light, who once sealed the meteor, now have the ability to quell it once more, as long as Kirby and Elflin gather the Starries. They can recrystallize the meteor using their bodies, and the entity within will not incarnate into a being of destruction. Sounds familiar. And so, Kirby, alongside his traditional adventure saving the world of these, also goes to save the Starries, as the world of the Forgotten Land has been warped by these meteors. The Starries' power is immense. Though they are weak alone, the residual energy they emit creates rippling effects across the world. As the meteors crash down, oceans are parted, new areas are created, and the sky is torn by cosmic energy. These Starries are quite powerful. Thankfully, they're on our side. As long as Kirby saves them, they can seal the meteor and return it to space where it belongs.
The meteor, the dark meteor that crashed into the Forgotten Land that the stories had knocked off course, is creating these things called galactals. Very, very strange name, right?
These galactals, their goal is to exterminate the stars so that way they can't recrystallize the meteor. The meteor is using the crystal's power against the stars by creating its own life forms. But Kirby dispatches them quite easily. And very soon, all 120 stars are saved. And Kirby rushes over to the fallen star volcano in order to replace the stars back at their rightful location. Stars fly onto the meteor, fully covering it and crystallizing it. However, the entity inside is enraged. It smashes its body into the ground, and with it, the crystal barrier cracks. It will not be imprisoned again. It breaks free, revealing an orbular form, but it latches onto the stars, absorbing them into its body, and as a few stars gesture to escape, it chases. But Kirby falls into a deep, deep abyss. Once Kirby arrives, he discovers a testing facility for the spaceship New Worlds, full of prototype ships that were used perhaps to test launches and whatnot. It's also full of billboards depicting the hat of a mysterious singer who we'll get to later.
Initiating Aikido shimasu.
Kirby reaches a lift and rises onto the crystallized floating island in which the entity resides. It absorbs stars, using their properties to amplify its own and gain a brand new form. Using the stars, it matures, and this entity, with a mysterious orb upon its head, is none other than Genwell Median Elphalus, the older brother of Fecto Elphalus. What?
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 Are you kidding me? There's more of them.
Yeah, there's more of them, and apparently that Elphalus had a brother that they neglected to mention for 3 years. Great.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Right. It's Alphalus's secret, powerful older brother that's coming here to kill you now.
Yep. Median Elphalus is enraged. They fight ferociously. Their posture is horrible, and they are clearly much more unruly, and honestly a little more reptilian than Elphalus.
Much less graceful.
Yeah, they've consumed countless stars, and using their crystallized power, it has gained the form that is matured just like Elphalus's, and a spear of its own, named Ares, to counter Elphalus's anti-Ares. Median Elphalus is a truly monstrous creature, constantly sucking upon the energy of the stars. But as Kirby strikes it down, its body disappears. It's time to drop the facade. That orb upon its head, its true form, reveals to us something that I suppose should have been obvious. This species,
Should have been obvious.
Alphalus, and perhaps even the Starries, are creatures directly connected to Void. They too, much like Kirby and Dark form of void-like substance, of void, of chaos. This one, of course, is dark. It contains one eye, proving its darkness, as we know. And, what? What? Play that part of the song again. Play that again.
Wait, what? Hold up. Is that no, could have been. No.
It's in a pink crystal? What are we, what?
What?
Galactal? What? Okay, we have to talk about
yeah.
this later. We can't fit this in the video, this is too much. So, basically Kirby beats it, it explodes, but it leaves its spear behind, that's important. But
that's important
okay.
For later. It's fine.
Media Nephilus does not die, however. The Starries simply reseal it. Elfilin, of course, realizing what we now know, maybe the Starries once encased him in a meteor before. He didn't realize it yet, but he has been in a meteor as Fecto Elfilus. And so, the Starries leave with the evil meteor in tow, sealing it. Elfilin theorizes that perhaps someday, Media Nephilus will return as a friend if his heart connects with those of the Starries. Sounds pretty familiar. It sounds just like Void Termina, and I hope it's true for Media Nephilus. And I would like to know what that Galactonite stuff was about. What was that about? Man,
that was very weird. There's like three or four references to Galactonite. What the hell does that mean?
I don't know. Weird stuff. But the Starries go home. As little heroes they are, and planet protectors, they will continue to keep the evil meteor sealed for time immemorial, as far as we know. Whoa! This is us in editing. My mic is so much better now. Is your mic better?
My mic is the same.
Great.
I didn't get a new mic.
So we're interjecting here because there's a lot of stuff we didn't explain in the latter half of this video, and we think this is probably a good place to put some of the, actually explain what the heck was this DLC even about and why did it even happen. We should probably explain what the Starries actually are, because we have enough evidence, I think, to make a definitive statement on what they're supposed to be. So, Dan, do you wanna take it from here?
We briefly mentioned that the Starries had a connection with Void, but we didn't really expand upon that answer that much. We're doing it here. During Media Nephilus' second phase of the fight, he had consumed the Starries' power and turned massive, basically, trying to destroy you. That's important. In the third phase of the fight, a familiar motif played from the credit theme of Kirby's Dream Land, as well as the new Battle for Tomorrow for Kirby's Battle Royale. In both of those games, specifically, Kirby and Dedede respectively had used the power of the sparkling stars to grow massive. That is exactly what Media Nephilus did with the power of the Starries. So yeah, the starry in the sparkling stars, pure source of concentrated miraculous energy, are made of the same stuff. Given the name, that seemed obvious in hindsight, really.
We also have something we need to talk about. Uh, we fought against a second Elphalus. That seems kind of weird that they just dropped that, but this actually is part of like the themes of Forgotten Land and Starcross World. The central theme of this entire game, which is very much so emphasized in the DLC, is that it's basically just cycles and repetition. And there are many plot points in this game and many like parts of speculation that are put together by following this theme. Do you want to explain some of them for us?
The ancients find Popstar, they use the Waddle Dees as an energy source, and then they leave and fuck off. And then Popstar is then reconnected to the new world for the same reason by Forgo. Forgo did the exact same thing.
So
And then the Legends of the...
the plan that Forgo's plan hinges on what the ancients did in the past. He's continuing, or it is continuing a cycle.
It's continuing the relentless cycle.
Yeah. And then we also have the legend of the evil meteors, which is like the most overt part of this, because they literally say it in the song over and over again, thousands of times. Basically, to restate, the legend of the meteors is that in the past and in the future, meteors will continuously fall upon like the home of the ancients for all of time. And in Starcross World, we see a meteor fall. But we've actually likely seen a meteor before in the Kirby series. We mentioned a couple times that the evil meteor in Starcross World, which is mysteriously heart-shaped and associated with darkness, and also contains a being that can destroy the world, and also might become good if under the right conditions, is likely similar to the Jamba Heart, which also, has all of those properties and also contains a void being as well, being Void Termina, while this thing contains Meteonophilis. So what this DLC is trying to suggest is that because these two objects are so similar, the Jamba Heart that was discovered a long time ago actually is one of these meteors, but it just appeared in a different place. Almost like this fate is chasing the ancients, no matter how far they go. Very interesting stuff here.
Both of the final bosses being Elphalus species also signifies a repetition of events. Even the goal of the main villain, which is to simply continue their history of invasions, because they keep doing that over and over again, we don't know how long they've been doing it, is to continue a hateful cycle of destruction. The game also alludes to literal time looping. Elphalin had mentioned that Elphalus was drawn to the planet by a song sung by an unnamed prophetic singer, the one who sung Welcome to the New World at Twinkling Star Shower. They somehow managed to hear her song from space, which makes no sense. But the actual reason for this is because the hangar that Kirby had explored in Fallen Star Volcano has been sending radio waves across space-time and the galaxy.
Some might say that also doesn't make sense, but
that doesn't really make much sense. But we're just
it's because
with
the machines that they made in there already have like time travel, like warp power. So that's like,
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Sure,
yeah.
Whatever. Anyways, due to this, Elphalus was able to hear singing before she even wrote the songs about space travel. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy, basically, creating a perfect cycle.
Yes, and these negative cycles are broken by goodness.
Like Kirby, Elphalin, and the Starries. Elphalus
because it has chosen to be evil, still persists in this unending cycle, and has escaped from Morphodite to regain power. Hopefully, our heroes can stop them once for all.
While Median Elphalus has a void-like form, Elphalus 2 has now re-tapped into that chaotic energy, thanks to the beast souls it has gathered and the power of Morphodite finally finishing it. It is now Elphalus once again without Elphalin. This is where things diverge a little. This new entity, aptly named Chaos Elphalus, has two options. It overtakes the Colosseum and begins to rebuild its mind, creating new opponents for Kirby. Among past foes as well. Even creating Phantom Meta Knight based on its failed attempt to take over his mind. Chaos Elphalus has two options. Chaos Elphalus can fight Kirby as normal. With its newfound power, it will strike upon Kirby. The Chaos Elphalus has another option as well. Median Elphalus left behind his spear. Elphalus, reaching across space-time to grab this spear from where it was left, can now wield the power of the Starries itself, reaching its full potential as the true Lord of Chaos. children of the stars have blessed Kirby of the stars. He strikes Chaos Elfless down. The souls within it writhe and wriggle as finally they are calmly released with a nice, soft light. But one final light drifts. It drifts to Elfilin. It's Elfilus. Though it is not dead, it finally admits its defeat. There is no way Elfilus can beat Kirby. It has tried and tried, even with its most powerful state as the Lord of Chaos. It is no match for Kirby or Bandana Wallaby, who is also here. So it willingly returns to Elfilin. And at last, the two Gemini, Elfilin and Forgo, are finally together, complete. No longer bent on invading planets. The history of invasions is finally at a close. Now there's a part of the story we've left out.
There's a part of the story that we left out intentionally to talk about here.
There is a diva, popular singer among the New Worlders. Her name is Nay Shell, a popular singer. The singer of Welcome to the New World and also Twinkling Star Showers, both songs used as propaganda by the people at Lab Discover, who issued the creation of this new technology to warp to new worlds. Michelle was hired on to sing such music to get people into the idea of moving to a new planet. Twinkling Star Showers itself sings about the Starfell children, the Starry, who seal media on Elfilus. They are the ones, likely, who gave Michelle this vision, and she sings their praises as their song is what guides them to prosperity. Michelle, though we don't see her in game, has actually appeared in real life. In real life, she's a real person. Hold on, is this real?
She's a real person. What?
Michelle has appeared in real life as a real person. Michelle is a human woman in real life. That's crazy. Michelle sung Welcome to the New World at the Kirby's 30th Anniversary Music Festival. And, well, that's the only time I ever get to see her. And we actually see her hat that she used in that appearance on a billboard. So I think it's fair to say that that's probably what she actually looks like. She's just a person.
Yeah. She's just a person. Yeah.
But Michelle isn't just any person. She is the one who received the prophetic message. And, as we mentioned before, she's the one who decoded the prophecy for everyone to know. She essentially is the main reason these people end up leaving the planet. But Michelle, her music is so popular that the Spaceship New Worlds, every single model of them, continuously played her music, especially Twinkling Star Showers, as they were soaring through space. And even as they became abandoned and nobody was using them anymore, her song still echoed through its systems. They must have loved her music. It's so strange, though. Despite all of that, despite singing such a popular song about moving to the new world, Michelle stayed behind. She didn't leave with everyone else. Feeling a conflict in her heart for creating propagandistic music, perhaps believing that it was disingenuous to create songs to entice people to do such a thing, she ultimately chose to stay. It's hard to say if it was truly her own decision. Maybe her feelings of confliction were leveraged against her, but it was her choice in the end. And as far as we know, that's the end of Michelle. But people like her music.
Her music's very good. She's a very good singer.
Yep. Nayshell, that's the end of her story. It's a real quiet end.
Yeah,
All these other
kinda-
people, all these other ancients
kinda
get
like
to live
the-
on. And she's been
It's
forgotten.
kind of depressing, and she's just been forgotten. It doesn't seem likely that she would willingly stay on the planet, considering that she knows who was going to come here. But
Yeah.
that's all we have to
It
go
was her
on. The
choice.
ancients said that she willingly stayed there. But the
As far as
ancients
I
are
know, that's the
also a
truth.
group of people who are the best, you know.
Yeah, but that's it. We'll always
That's
have
it,
the
yeah.
music though, and you know,
Yeah.
I guess you know, the technology is more important, right? Those
Yeah.
are the big advancements. Oh well.
Oh well.
Then, if you had to summarize the themes of the Kirby series, what would you say Kirby in general is about?
Kirby, to me, is about friendship between people. The simple things, you know. The naps, the treats, the spring breeze around the peaceful dreamland. Instead of all the cosmic horrors we end up learning about from ancient people who are obsessed with power and trying to control things that they have no way of controlling.
I would agree.
And trying to escape their fates.
I would agree. I believe that in pursuing the multiversal and going above a planetary scale, the ancients likely forgot what was important to them. In pursuing advancement and pursuing perfection, they lost sight of themselves. They were ultimately destroyed by the Master Crown they created to attain ultimate power. And, you know, couldn't think of a more fitting end. Because at the end of the day, what really matters is the simple things. Nayshell has a final song, which she did not finish, but she wrote the lyrics. Though she passed, we still have those lyrics to go off of. Nayshell, in her song, aptly named Last Song, sings about her regrets, sings about the lies that were spread by those who left the planet. She regrets creating those songs. She regrets getting people to leave. Maybe she could have changed the prophecy if she had the heart to. But she went along with it. She wishes she could explore those other worlds, enter those portals, but just so she can go to the next town over, just to share a nice apple pie with someone, anyone. But those people are gone now. She's left with a few people who've chose to remain, and they're going to pass on, no matter what. They made their final decision. Maybe Nichelle regrets the path that the agents were set on, but in the future she foresees an AI system, a system that she's relying on. And though she's not sure if it's her dream, she doesn't have the white wings she saw in her dream yet. But it won't matter soon. Nichelle might pass on, but that AI system, that song continuously played on those machines, will be born into a new ship. The Lore Starcutter. The ship, the spaceship in New Worlds, would eventually be iterated into. It will learn from Nichelle's songs. And maybe, just maybe, the Lore Starcutter can do something that she didn't. Maybe it can help someone. Anyone make a friend. No matter what. And you know what? It did. Magolor, one of the most expanded upon characters in the Kirby series, has come around. He's a little trickster, but he's made true friends. And if it wasn't for the lore entertaining his delusions, and for helping him reluctantly, he might have never ended up at that point. The Lore Starcutter is carrying on Nichelle's legacy even as she's gone. And though that ship was used to attain great, immeasurable power, now it's just a friend. A place to have fun, to nap and rest. The Lore Starcutter is a simple thing now, for simple people to enjoy. This ship of paradise, again, will carry Nichelle's legacy, and Nichelle will not be forgotten. She will live on. She will go to the next town over and share a delicious red fruit pie with the new people she loves, as the Lore Starcutter carries her voice, her music forward. Perhaps one day finishing the last song itself. This has been the lore of the Kirby series. Dan, do you have any final remarks before we go?
This has been a very long, arduous journey. I can't say that word right. There's so many things you have to piece together.
And there's only going to be more in the future. But, just like Nichelle's story will carry on through the lore, our story carries on too. We are far from done. This is only the start of our descent.
From done. This is only the start of what we're...
of our descent into madness.
Descent into madness.
As we talk about crazy theories that you might have never even heard before, with some crazy evidence you might not have even thought to put together. Trust me, we've got some crazy stuff cooking, and we can't wait to share with you. The future is bright.
Right. We're right. We're 100% right.
Don't be mean. Don't say anything mean. We don't want anyone to click off at the end. But anyways, the future of Kirby is bright. And we hope that you too learn to appreciate those little things. Just
appreciate the friendship of people, the spring breeze, the nap times, your own personal dreamland.
Don't let your head get too big. That's the moral here. Thank you for watching.